Megan Fox.
And Megan Fox has the story.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox writes at PJ Media.
Eat Tucker.
That was your best.
Damn it, man. I cried for 2 days.
Megan, thank you very much for that.
So, I can explain the bed thing.
If you don't show up and vote, up your ass. I don't care if you're in the hospital. Crawl to the stake. Crawl there.
It's like Jesus going into the temple. He's like, I got a whip. Get out! Get out! The lovely and wonderful Megan Fox. Not that one.
Not that one. Not the weird one that drinks blood in his toe thumbs.
Megan Fox.
Megan. And honestly, Megan, if you don't like it, I'm sorry.
She's the devil.
Megan Fox. Megan Fox.
I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
You've never met a like me. You want to tangle? You want to go? Holy sh!
Too much cussing on this. I guess we didn't bleep it, so we got to turn it off. But it's.
You pissed off the wrong woman.
Oh my God! I have been assaulted when Megan Fox runs wild on you, brother.
She's the devil.
Not for publication.
The story.
I'm Megan Fox. Thank you. Cheers.
Well. Look who it is. I'm back. And I have a new camera. Doesn't it look a little bit better? Just a little bit better. The computer is still on its way. I know I was late, but I had a good excuse. I was making this delicious cocktail. So I just made this up off the top of my head. I made a cinnamon whiskey and apple cider sour with a caramel rim with some cinnamon, and it's pretty darn good. Yum. All right, so I don't have to be in black and white tonight, so that's good. At least I think. If it starts going out, we'll see. The good news is that IT Goatee Brad is here.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. I forgot to call you to do the thing we were supposed to do beforehand. I totally spaced. Sorry. So I don't know what that was about. I forget now.
I'll just add it to your bill.
You mean the bill that you then pay me?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. I'm so glad that you're here. And coming to this stage as well is Legal Vices, who said he wasn't going to be here, and then he showed up. Yay!
Yay! I'm here.
I know you're very tired, I'm sure.
No, it's noon. It's noon here. Most of my Saturday plans went to shit, so I'm here.
Yay! And also there's Flux. Here she is.
Hello. I was definitely not just asleep on the couch 2 minutes ago. I didn't just fall asleep, and you know, we're all good.
Well, Nicholas Starrow's here too, and I bet that he wants to be asleep. Did you buy the bonnet yet, Nicholas?
No, I'm here to represent the Johns Hopkins Hospital. I think I am qualified.
Oh my God, that is the best. That is the best thing I have seen.
That's perfect.
Yes. We did everything we could do for Maya.
But I must say,
promise,
Ms. Edie, you're looking here. Ms. Beatty, you're looking much better than I've seen you recently.
Yes, I just put her on my lap, and
Catherine Beatty going to the Ms. Smith School of Medicine. Wow.
Oh my
All
God,
right.
that's perfect. It's
Oh,
perfect.
wow.
It's perfect.
Wow.
I couldn't ask for better friends. I don't know what I did to
I
deserve
could.
you.
Jesus.
I
You have
don't know
low
what
standards.
I don't know what I did to deserve you all.
I pray every day for better friends.
You know, I feel insulted by that. I feel very insulted by that, Jeff. First, you won't go to a BTS concert with me, and now you want better friends.
Case in point. That's why I want better friends. Anyone like that.
The content, I would pay so much to see that.
The chat is pointing out to me, yes, Palmyra Productions. I'm sure you realize by now that Dr. Goodhair tagged you and Rob and Lumber in a recent tweet. Rob just mentioned there will be a possibility of interview. Well, I'm going to beat Rob to the punch because Dr. Goodhair will be with me on Monday at 11.
Wow.
I have had a long conversation with Dr. Corkran, who is an amazing man. He has started a YouTube channel, and he is going to talk about the case. He's going to talk about some of the inside baseball stuff that we haven't heard. And he's also launching his new channel is going to be focused on how to help people navigate the medical system. And he's going to be taking your questions. He's going to be helping you any kind of questions that you have about, how do we get through this terrible time of medical tyranny with somebody on the inside who knows.
Are we sure that this is an actual human man and not like an angel from heaven or something?
I know, right? He's so nice. I was on the phone with him for 2 hours. This guy is just a cool dude.
Wait till you get the bill for that. That's why he was so happy.
I don't think, but do doctors
he's a
bill
good
by
guy.
the hour? No, he's a super guy, and we're going to get to know him a lot more on Monday, and that's going to be great. But there is breaking news, and it's not good news for JHACH. It's not good news for JHACH, but there is. But I thought you all would like to see it. This is
I thought you were going to say they filed their appeal already.
No. Maya Kowalski went to the sheriff today of Pinellas County, and she filed,
I saw this.
She filed a criminal complaint against JHACH for sexual assault. And coming to this stage, we're going to have Mr. Anderson tell us about it. No, I don't have him here, unfortunately, but I would like to soon. Let's see.
Went to the door.
Wait. Go back.
Turned around his shoulder.
We want to turn to the Take Care of Maya civil trial now.
This is creepy, man.
Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital liable for 7 claims against then 10-year-old Maya Kowalski, which included false imprisonment and battery. Jurors awarded the family a total of more than $260 million in damages, but the hospital may not be out of legal trouble just yet. The Kowalskis are now filing a criminal complaint for sexual assault. The issue came up very early in the civil trial when their attorney, Gregory Anderson, addressed it outside the presence of the jury.
I said, Maya, we're going to dismiss Ms. Beatty. Now, are you telling me every single encounter you had there? I need to know every single encounter, no matter how big or small you think it is. And she told me one story about them dancing around her to try to get her to get out of bed and dance.
Oh.
And we know about this. Then she broke down, and then she told me that she had a doctor come in, and she figured it was a doctor because she described him as being tall, thin, glasses, I think she said round glasses, and dirty blonde hair with a lab coat on. She could identify his belt and his pants. The doctor walked in, male, without chaperone or assistant. The doctor walked over to her and said, "May I take a peek?" The doctor pulled down Maya's pajamas, this was pretty late in the day, I know it was short shorts or pajamas, but it had a drawstring. Pulled them down, pulled her panties down, and then stared at her vagina for, Maya said, long enough for her to be not only startled, but start to cry. Whereupon he turned around, went to the door, turned over around his shoulder and said, thanks. She never saw him again. Now, as an officer of the court, I will swear everywhere, had I known anything about this, I would have immediately brought to the attention of both the court and to opposing counsel. I then waited. I've waited for the past 3 or 4 days, however long it's been, because I wanted to corroborate before I brought this before the court. So Maya was able to locate a witness where approximately 2 years, a little less than 2 years after it happened, she told a young man who was a friend of hers what happened, and he is willing to testify about it.
Now, the defense argued the plaintiffs could not add that claim to the civil trial because it would require a motion to change the complaint and could push the trial back another year. Ultimately, the judge decided not to allow it in this case. All right, joining me now to talk about this huge development is the Kowalski family's attorney, Gregory Anderson. Gregory, thank you so much for joining us.
He looks so much better when he's not in a
congratulate
suit,
you on your historic verdict.
He looks 10
Number
years
one,
younger.
I don't think there's
I was
very
gonna
few
say,
people in
he
the
looks
world who know how much
lighter.
work it takes for a case like that. And I would imagine
He's ready to
last night
fight
might have been
some
the
more.
first night in a long time you got a decent night's sleep. So I think that's fair. So I want to know how you and the family
he
are
was
doing
out
now, a day removed
drinking
from
his ass
yesterday's
off and
story.
doing lines of coke to celebrate.
How we're doing now, I think there's a great sense of relief. I have a great sense of wanting more sleep is my concern. I've been operating at about 3 or 4 hours of sleep for the past 9 weeks. So I'm a little blurry-eyed. I apologize. The Kowalskis are doing very, very well. I had lunch with them today. They're in good spirits. They are very positive about the result. This was an unbelievably emotional event, but you know, they're kids and they have a great ability to recover, far more than mine, I would say, and far more than JHACH. So the Kowalskis are doing well, and we talked extensively about the future and some efforts to try to put their lives back together.
All right, so let's move now to this new development. I don't want to call it stunning because there was some inclination that this happened and was very damaging to this 10-year-old girl when it happened. So tell me about this criminal complaint, where it stands, and the decision to bring it.
Right. Well, I can tell everyone that today, Maya Kowalski went to the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department with my partner, Nick Whitney, swore out a criminal complaint against Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital with the idea, though, and I want to make this clear, that we have not been able to identify a specific perpetrator there. We do not know if this is a Johns Hopkins physician, though obviously from the description that Maya's given, that seems to be the most obvious. But it could very well have been somebody who snuck in there, managed to get a Johns Hopkins ID, lab coat, stethoscope, the indicia that it was a doctor and perpetrate the crime. So it's important to understand that Maya swore out a complaint, but we cannot tell, and this is going to be up to the police, really, to the sheriff's office to come in and to conduct the investigation, make that determination.
All right, so what does it mean for the case going forward if you're not able to identify a specific individual? I don't imagine, at least in my experience, that you could bring this criminal case against, let's say, a hospital or a hospital administrator or someone else involved in the care of Maya, or is that possible?
Well, that's a good point, Michael. It's so it would be a a alternative allegation. On one hand, there will be counts, and we're drafting the complaint right now, and we hope to have it filed by the end of next week. On one hand, there'll be an assault, battery, intentional infliction count against the hospital acting through an employee, physician, somebody employed there. In the alternative, there will be counts involving premises liability, negligent supervision, negligent security, all of the, and I hate to use the term usual because nothing about this case is proven to be usual, but the typical causes of action that you would have where a facility, be it a hospital or a hotel or wherever, failed to maintain the appropriate security and protection for the patrons, or in this case, the patients. So it'll be it'll be in the alternative is the best way to put it.
All right, quickly, let me ask you this. I am a defense attorney by trade, so I think in these terms, I can imagine already if someone is identified or even if the hospital, they would claim that something like this was what you do in circumstances where perhaps abuse is suspected.
Is he kidding? You
There's no
suspect
way.
abuse?
No,
so you
no.
pull down the pants of a kid alone in a room without explaining to her, with no one else present, without parental consent. Is he insane?
No, he's just saying what the defense is likely to argue.
Fine.
Discount the way Maya felt about
And that's
it.
what
What
that's
does it
exactly
say
like something the
exactly?
hospital would argue.
Doesn't mean it's a reasonable argument. But what they'll argue.
In terms of signs of abuse, certainly
it cost
what
$260
Maya
million,
describes
so
was
good luck.
overwhelming abuse apart from this, and then this adds to it. It's difficult with children. Remember, Maya was 10. So a 10-year-old has well documented that 10-year-olds children are going to suppress their feelings about such things. And so how Maya reacted at the time, we still have a lot to discover and to figure out. If the question is, and I want to make sure I'm identifying the question, if it is, how do we prove that? As to the premises liability aspect of it, I think just having the fact that somebody was able to get into a children's hospital, and remember, this was in the PICU, the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit. So how did somebody manage to make it into the PICU without anyone noticing them? If it was, in fact, someone who was not a doctor or otherwise employed there, then, you know, a third-party assailant, as we say, how were they able to get there and get into Maya's room? An interesting point of this case, and if for those folks out there that were following the case just concluded, was there was a tremendous amount of testimony about the sequestration, if you will, of Maya away from other patients and becoming a, lack of a better term, a non-entity there during her stay, with no name up there, no identification outside her room. The other children had, you know, names, identifiers outside, and everything from smiley faces to, you know, cartoon characters, things like that. Maya was not treated that way. Maya was treated completely as a non-entity. And our question is this: doesn't this tend to attract the type of perpetrator we're talking about here? If this child has a, lack of a better term, reputation among the hospital staff as someone who can't be believed because of the allegations against her of factitious disorder, conversion disorder, doesn't that kind of set her up to be a target for a predator?
Yes.
And that's something that we are we're actively reviewing.
All right. Unbelievable. I mean, this is an unbelievable case that seems to have gotten even.
I'm shook. I'm shooketh. I'm shooketh. I mean, I'm so glad they went to the sheriff, but I think they're going to face a lot of problems with this because there is no identification of the perpetrator. But Anderson did point out that they're still going to try and hold JHACH accountable for what happened to her because they were supposed to protect her. And now that a jury has already said they believe her, how much you want to bet it'll happen again?
And according to John Hopkins, Maya was never left without supervision in some form. There was always somebody in the nurse's booth.
That's what they say.
Oh, that's what they claimed under oath in this trial.
Yep.
They can't go back on that. So somebody watched that person go into Maya's.
Or they committed perjury and there was nobody at the booth.
All right, so I know we're going to see this question pop up. People are going to say this. Why aren't they satisfied with the money? Move on now for your health. I'm sure they are satisfied with the judgment. However, there was this sexual assault that occurred that was not addressed. And she needs to close that door. Not to mention, now, I don't want to be, if I'm a lawyer, and if I'm Greg Anderson, this could be some strategy to say, look, we're coming after you hard. We don't care if you appeal. We don't care what's going on. We're coming after you. We're going to get you at some point, whether it's civilly or criminally, we're going to get you. So this might be the catalyst that makes JHACH give up and settle.
And even though the awarded money is enormous, I don't think this was ever about money.
No.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It was about vindicating the mom.
And what about other children that they might be doing this to? Do you think Maya wants this to happen to
She's
other
not the only
children?
one.
Yeah, that they are definitely doing this too.
Yeah, they're definitely doing this to other children.
The one thing to me
Because there's another lawsuit already.
The one thing for me that'll be interesting is we saw there a couple of photos of them getting Maya out of bed. And I wonder how much of that video is available because he mentioned that it was in PICU. So entry and exit records for the PICU should still be there, even if video.
And that's what I've been wondering this whole time because I typically I've been working in admin for over 15 years. I do administrative work. You keep documents for a long time. And I kept thinking like, oh, this was back in 2015. They won't have those videos. They won't have that surveillance. They're a PICU. They should definitely still have that. They have those images. She was in a monitored room. Where is that video?
Yeah, I know. Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah.
Where is it?
And they can subpoena videos from that year. And if they see that, okay, wow, there's 400 videos, but Maya's is missing.
Yeah, why is that?
Yeah.
They're just going to give you the, the cameras went out for that one specific hour that one event happened.
Like Epstein.
Yeah.
Oh, I was trying to not say it, but yeah, exactly.
Like Epstein. Well, we can say it, I think. Everybody knows Epstein didn't kill himself. That's common knowledge.
Yeah.
It was written on beer cans at the grocery store, for God's sake.
That was the greatest meme. We should bring that back.
It was a good meme. It sure was.
Yeah. And that description of that specific guy, I mean, the hospitals has employee records.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They all have to wear a badge.
They all have to get their pictures taken too.
Yep.
So they actually have a lookbook at the hospital. And
don't they log in and out?
Yeah, the sheriff can get Maya and take her to the hospital and sit
And
down
look
with
through
the
the entire log of employees.
And look through their pictures. And she can ID him.
Yeah.
And if she can't ID anybody, well, that means just what Anderson said, that their security is so shit and their protection of her is so shit that they let somebody walk into that hospital and get access to her.
But didn't
And
one
I'm
of the
sorry,
nurses
that thing
bring
about
him
the
in?
door, mate.
He said-
No, he came in by himself. That thing on the door, the thing about how other kids had their names on the door and their families and stickers and all this stuff, that is really important. I was wondering why they were hammering that during the trial. And it had to have been for this. There was no other reason. And also to show that like she was treated in a different way than other children. But having her room coated with these mysterious color-coded stickers and no other identifying marks totally targets her as somebody that maybe doesn't have family protection.
Yeah. And they're setting her up to be seen as a liar anyway. If she makes it, nobody's going to believe her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's way
Lord.
too small. We got to embiggen that. What the heck? Why is it?
Yeah, I've been drinking for 5 hours straight, so I need to take a leak before I start.
Oh,
this.
okay. Well, you go do that. Well, I'm sure we'll have. Oh, MG, we need to turn your microphone up. Can we?
Up.
Can you
Okay,
turn
I
it
can
up?
do that. Yeah, I can turn it up.
You're such a soft-spoken gentleman, anyway.
Well, I've had it where people say I'm too loud, so I always back it down.
Sounds perfectly balanced to me.
So
He's always a little low to me, and chat says he's a little low. So, and he was low the other night. So,
yeah, and I was on my stream the other night too. So
yeah.
Well, and again, this is just this is just a problem with StreamYard because what Megan Fox hears is not what we hear, and what we hear is not what
It's not
you
what the
guys
chat
hear.
hears. Yeah, it's all different. It's really strange, and I wish it would stop.
Well, it's
And
just
I guess-
StreamYard thinks we don't know how to balance our own audio.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, you can do it. You know, you don't have to put the auto on, but
But it still processes it through StreamYard.
Yeah.
No matter
Even
what you
if
do,
you
they're going
do
to
manual
reprocess
volume.
and rebalance. Yeah.
Hmm.
Because they're
Really?
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is lowest common denominator software, which is why we all use it. There's zero learning curves. And they,
Oh my
they
gosh.
think that means stupidity. It just means convenience. But
Unhung Hero, thanks for the $2 super chat. Says JHACH is turning the friggin' frogs gay. You know, I wouldn't put it past them. McCrae, okay, tried to switch to Rumble, but it would not let me send a rant. That's I've been hearing that. I think you have to use a browser on a computer to do that. Can't do it through the phone. Very excited for Dr. Goodhair, putting in my ear-killing earbuds in and going to bed now. I feel your pain on that one. Here's to somebody coming up with bed-tiny, soft earphones. 'cause we
I was
really
gonna
need
say
them.
I have a pair. I'm not wearing them right now, but I have a pair of Raycons, and
what are Raycons?
They're little earbud. They're just little earbuds.
That's what
a lot
Ray J
of
or something.
yeah, they're fairly on the like low. They're on the lower end price wise of earbuds, and their thing that holds it in your ear is actually really really good. And I wear mine like 8 hours a day at work, and it does not hurt at all.
All right. You're gonna have to send me a link to those, okay? Because I need that. My ears are
Oh,
so
absolutely. I
sensitive.
mean, they last forever. And here's a little secret. Mine have accidentally been through the washer twice now.
Yeah,
Wow.
my mom
And
or
they
my
still
wife
work.
has her
They went through the
earbuds did that too. She washed them, and they still work
washed
like a charm.
and dried.
And they're not
And I-
Raycons. They're I think it's Soundcore, Anchor Soundcore.
I'm starting
yeah.
to think the whole water thing might be a lie, because I'm just like, how have they gone through the washer and dryer twice? And I just pop them right back in my ear, and it's like, oh, they're still fine.
Yep.
Thank you, Palmyra Productions, for the gifted memberships. I appreciate that.
and by the way, there's some
Yes,
news
Jeff?
on that front. I
yeah?
see that YouTube has just announced that people with iPhones will now be able to buy memberships to YouTube channels from their app, from their phone directly.
Oh, about time.
Nice.
So anybody with an iPhone will now be able to purchase a membership straight from your phone.
Cool. McCrae, thanks again for the $10 super chat. Says congrats to Spawn for getting her license, and congrats to you for your new pewter. Looking forward to your streams when you get it. I am too, and I was all excited. I went to Best Buy today and just kind of roamed around and you know, lusted after the things that were there. I can't buy it until the stupid Give Send Go releases my funds, which they say will happen in 2 days. So in 2 days, I'm going to be the first one standing in line at Best Buy to pick up my new pewter. But I did get a new camera while I was at Best Buy because I figured, well, why the hell not? I had some Venmo money, so I bought it. And I'm very excited about it because it's much, much better. It's got like 4K HD. It's good. It's good. All right, we got to go over who's going to read what. So we have MG Law is playing Attorney Hunter. Boo, hiss.
Boo.
And I did make the computer fund. You guys gave me more money than I asked for. I asked for $1,700. You gave me $2,000, and so now I get to buy all the other fun things like a second monitor and a camera, and you know, who knows? I'm gonna go crazy. All right, so
give it a whirl.
I'm gonna give it a whirl. The court is played by Legal Vices. IT Goatee Brad, you are going to be the attorney for DCF. Boo. And that guy's name is Silverstein.
I relish in your hate.
I'm playing the villain. I love playing that doctor last time. That was really fun.
Let the hate flow through you.
So yes, you will be doing Silverstein. What do you want, Spawn?
An owl flew into me.
An owl flew into what?
It's
Into the
okay.
car? Her first night out in the car
Oh
by
my
herself. And an owl. I've literally never seen an owl. Never seen one. And an owl. Did it die?
I'm gonna tell the story.
All right, tell the story.
I was out with boyfriend and we just went back from the restaurant. We were like, we just gotten food and we're coming back, and I'm about to pull into his driveway, and as I'm pulling in, I see this big bird like dive down. No, he goes, and it hits right into the hood of my dad's truck.
No, did it dent the truck?
No, I was so worried. As soon as I pulled into his driveway, I was like, I have to get out and check because I'm so scared that a dent has
Did
gotten
it die
left.
or just fly away?
I went to go find it and it wasn't there. But like when it hit, I started laughing.
Oh no!
He was like, "You psycho! You just killed a bird." I'm like, I'm scared it left a dent. It didn't leave a dent though, and I think the bird's alive.
Oh! I hit a squirrel today, a suicidal squirrel.
I saw a baby squirrel.
It's bad.
I saw a baby squirrel going to his house.
Did you hit it?
No.
All right, go away. I love you.
Love you.
So what happened really was they were going through some kind of gate. They went too fast, right at the top of the truck, and then like, yeah, an owl hit it. That's what we'll tell them.
It was an owl. Don't buy that.
The weird part about it is we're out in the middle of nowhere. I've heard the owls, but I've never seen one. I actually believe this, especially because her boyfriend lives on a dead-end road. Like, and not dead end, but it's like a country road with like nothing around, just trees. So I imagine he sees a lot of weird stuff in his yard.
The perfect spot for potential serial killers.
Yes. How's that for your first day out with a car? An owl, a flippin' owl.
Well, at least it lived. She otherwise might be charged with bird slaughter, which would be terrible.
Jason J, thanks for the super chat, says, I use Raycon for sleep. Raycons are $70 to $80 on Amazon. Well, thank you for the tip.
Not only that, like just go to any kind of major YouTuber, like I'm talking like 200,000 plus, like 200,000 plus people, they always have discount codes for Raycons.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what those are. What are those? What's Raycon?
Earbuds.
Little
earbuds.
Oh,
all right,
yes.
so the dastardly doctor is played by Chandler. I forget her name now. What is the doctor's name?
Chandler Remington.
Dr. Major.
Dr.
Major.
Yep.
Doctor.
Major.
That's you, Chandler.
Oh, she's still going?
She's still going.
All right,
Miss
all right.
Salisbury is Flux.
Okay.
And she is the attorney for
Jack, right?
Jack. I am playing the attorney for Maya. Nicholas, did I give you somebody yet? Let's see. Who do I have for Nicholas? There's somebody else coming up here for Nicholas. I just don't know who it is. Let's see.
What was Mo doing?
Oh, Mo couldn't make it because she's
Yeah.
had a really bad
Yeah.
couple of days. They put a ton of tape on her back for some reason at the hospital. And getting it off now, of course, her whole back is on fire.
Poor Mo. That sounds very unpleasant.
So she has had to cancel a bunch of streams and stuff because she's just really not doing well.
Who's Miss Van Nose?
Miss Van Ness, that's me. That's
Okay.
the attorney for Maya. And then we have, who is the witness?
Keeps all the best parts for herself.
Who is the next? Oh, we have Dr. Hannah. You're going to,
Yeah, this is
Nicholas,
Dr.
you're
Hannah,
going to
yeah.
be Dr. Hannah.
Okay.
So maybe Dr. Major is done for now. I don't know. We'll see. But I know that Beata Kowalski's coming up.
Yeah,
So
Dr.
Chandler,
Major should be done.
Okay, Chandler.
Okay. Who
you
is
can
Dr.
step in.
Hannah?
Dr. Hannah is one of Maya's good doctors who is
Okay.
nice to her. And
A good one. A good one.
yeah, he's a
good
good
one,
guy.
Are you a good doctor or a bad doctor?
Yeah, we are starting up here on line 4 with Miss Salisbury, I believe.
Can you put the link to the actual document in the chat?
Yeah.
So it's not so tiny on my screen for my elderly eyes.
Of course I can.
Yeah, my eyesight is terrible today for some reason. Well, it's always terrible, but I'm
especially
zooming
my
in.
shit every day.
It's been that way since birth, basically.
I
There
took
you
my
go.
glasses off in my earlier stream and tried to read the chat, and
Oh, I
I
can't
read
take mine off.
Justice is besties.
I can't read a damn thing if I even lower mine. It's just
I can't read without my glasses at all. My eyes are terrible.
Page 80 who?
87.
87.
Top of the page, line 4 with Miss Salisbury. Oh, and again, for those of you who are just getting here, this is the second part of the transcript of the dependency hearing in January, the last one before Maya's mother unalived herself. No, I'm sorry. From now on, I'm going to say before Maya's mother was driven to hurt herself and to end her life
Sacrificed herself.
by Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, because she was
She
it's a matter of law
sacrificed
at this
herself
point.
for her daughter.
Yes.
It's settled. The hospital drove her to it.
Yeah, they did it. A jury of their peers determined that they're the responsible. So from now on, they're taking the responsibility. All right. Miss Salisbury, that's you, Flux.
All right, here we go. All right, via telephone.
Can we ease into that a little bit?
Sorry.
Does have to be the first thing out of everybody's
Yes,
mouth?
it does.
I mean, it's unintelligible. That's
unintelligible.
what unintelligible means.
I know, but
It's
does that have to
Charlie
be the
Brown's
first thing?
teacher. Well, it's not her fault. It's what the transcript says.
I could have read the line ahead of it just to ease into it. Anyway,
Begin transcription of digital recording file.
Via telephone.
better. Okay. Well, let's hold that for the moment.
Okay.
Mr. Hunter, did you get a response on the psychiatric records?
Yes, I did. They are in the process of copying all the mental health and psychiatric records from admission to the present day. And we'd just like to have your honor affirm that we are authorized and directed to release them to the state and to the family's lawyers. I've talked to counsel and they have no objection to that.
Do you need a written order?
I can submit one, your honor, but right now I'll go on the basis of an oral order.
That's fine. Oh, I'm still reading. Assuming. All right. Assuming there's no objection, I'll go ahead and grant the request.
And I'm working on a time frame, Judge. It should be the next day or so, I would hope. But I was just
No, that's fine. That's fine too. As soon as possible.
Yes, sir.
And if you can get that order to me sometime this week, today, or tomorrow.
I'll draft it this afternoon, Judge, and submit it to all counsel and have it to you, I hope, by the end of the week or early next year.
Okay. So you want Dr. Hannah to testify?
Yes.
On what subject?
On the subject of the placement of the child.
Great. Okay. Let's give the number to the bailiff and make the call.
Okay, it's 727 blank 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 blank.
Nicholas, you can be the bailiff.
Hold on 1 second, please. 727.
Oh, the whole number's in here.
Oh, forget that. Don't call any of these people. Understand? Stop that.
Let's
Oh,
go
I'm
down
sure
to
it's
the
changed
court
by
counsel.
now.
Do you want to approach?
Probably hasn't changed.
Let's start
Do you
with
want
line
to approach?
6.
Counsel, do you want to approach?
Hello.
Yes, is this Dr. Hannah?
Yes.
Good morning. This is Judge Hayworth. We're in open court, and apparently Ms. Salisbury has some questions for you.
Apparently.
I do.
Witness sworn by the court.
Go ahead, Ms. Salisbury.
Since I've already qualified him as an expert on prior testimony, I'm asking that be waived.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Okay.
I might go. Oh, this can be a bit racist.
He's a very nice man, Nicholas.
Okay.
He's a nice young man, Archie.
Sorry, I watched a bunch of All in the Family episodes yesterday.
Old white guy impersonating a young brown guy.
Having been produced and first duly sworn as a witness, and after responding, "Yes, I do," to the oath, testified as follows.
Okay, Dr. Hannah, we're here today talking about some discharge plans for Maya Kowalski. And I know you haven't been able to physically see her after you went to All Children's and were denied access. But based on your knowledge of Maya's CRPS condition, the last time you saw her, can you tell the court whether you think it's appropriate to send her to an inpatient program with an aggressive physical therapy for hours a day?
No, I strongly recommend that she go to an outpatient program. Strongly recommended emotional support so she can see her parents. We all know that CRPS can be severely exacerbated by emotional distress, and she already has been in emotional distress, being away from her parents, spending Christmas away from her parents, and I strongly recommend them to be around her as much as possible, even with supervision or whatever, court recommends.
Okay.
Because that would help her advance and progress tremendously.
So prior to going to All Children's, you had her attending physical therapy, didn't you?
She was doing physical therapy. She was attending physical therapy, and she was doing fine.
And how about, was she receiving mental health services down in Venice, Florida also?
Absolutely. The continuation of the... Oh, thanks a lot, Megan. Multidisciplinary approach with medication management, with physical therapy, with psychological therapy. That is the ultimate modality for her treatment.
Sorry.
Of course, with the ketamine, that is a problem now. But at least she can have the other two modalities.
Okay. And would you be willing to still, if she was discharged to her parents, still be seen in a treatment program in Florida where where maybe she's staying in a Ronald McDonald house in Gainesville or something like that? Would you be able to still see her occasionally and agree that no ketamine would be administered without a court order?
Of course.
Ms. Van Ness, any questions?
May I have a moment, Judge, before I go into this line of questioning? I'm concerned about the port and the court issuing an order to remove the port. So
I'm not there yet. Let's don't go there.
Oh, okay, then I don't have any questions.
Dr. Hannah, if the patient were not in Tampa, how would you go about treating her?
I mean, if she can come here, occasionally, I'd be happy to see her.
Well, wouldn't she have a primary treating physician in whatever facility she's in?
Outpatient.
I assume she would. If they want me as a consulting physician, I'd be happy to help as well.
So what sort of therapy, physical therapy, do you think she requires as outpatient or inpatient?
I think at this point, an inpatient would be too aggressive for her, especially if she's not getting any ketamine infusion. I think outpatient in combination with psychotherapy will be sufficient enough, especially if, one or both her parents can, take her, can see her. That emotional support is huge at that age to help the patient and help reduce the stress that definitely increase CRPS.
Well, no, my question wasn't about the emotional support. My question was how much in the way of physical therapy do you think she would require, assuming she's even an outpatient?
I mean, she can benefit from the physical therapy. When she was in our place, she was getting 1 hour every day of physical therapy or every other day. The physical therapy they gave her, it all depends on how she progressed and how painful is the physical therapy. For certainly, without ketamine, you cannot push physical therapy too much because there's only so much she can do. I mean, if it's causing too much pain, physical therapy would be even more painful. So actually, it would be hurting her at that point, not helping her. So a good physical therapist with good experience in CRPS patients will be able to develop a program that will accommodate her and will help.
Okay.
Let me ask him one more question.
Okay. Miss Salisbury has a question for you.
And Dr. Hannah, wasn't one of the things that you recommended that's really helpful for patients with, excuse me, I lost my point. What's recommended that's really helpful for patients with CRPS, water therapy?
Absolutely, yes.
Would you explain that to the court, why that's so helpful for CRPS?
Well, it's helpful because it reduces the load, unloads the patient's weight so they can do the movements freely. And that's really huge because, you know, if they have too much weight on their body, that's too much weight on the joints. That increases pain and limits their ability to progress, limits their movement ability as well. So water or aquatic therapy helps free them so they are able to exercise with less resistance.
Okay.
So definitely you can achieve more progress with that approach.
Dr. Hannah, this is Miss Van Ness. Are you aware the parents were helping Hannah with water therapy at home?
Yes.
She meant to say Maya. Maya with water therapy at home. And to your knowledge, was that helping?
Very much.
Okay, thank you.
If these things were being helpful, then why was it necessary to admit her to Johns Hopkins Hospital, all children's hospital?
Because she had the flare-up. Because the nature of CRPS, that's just the nature of the CRPS. Patients can be fine for a while, can be doing good, and she was doing fine with the treatment. But patients with CRPS can get the flare. That can be from tripping, from falling, from any kind of trauma, even by itself. So that's the problem we had with Maya, that she had this flare. And just the 4-hour infusion was not enough to break up the flare. And that's why we recommended the 24-hour, infusion to her.
Well, so basically you would expect the hospitalist to do the infusion when there's a flare-up and use your recommendation, even if it's contrary to what they want to do.
I mean, it's very difficult. It's a very difficult situation, in the ideal world. Yes, a combination of ketamine, physical therapy, psychotherapy is the optimum treatment. We are working with some limitations now, so we are
Sorry, that was my fault.
so we're trying to do the best that we can.
Well,
and I'm sorry.
Well, my question is, she has a flare-up. She's at home. She has a flare-up. They take her to the hospital. You want her to have ketamine infusion, and the hospital says, we don't do that. We don't think that's the right approach. So what happens to the kid?
I mean, she will have more pain. I mean, when she went, they did agree to the ketamine. They just didn't agree to a higher dose. But they did agree to the lower dose ketamine infusion.
Yeah, but you told us last time that she has a tolerance to it. She can't take the lower doses to be effective. To be efficacious, she needs a heavy dose, and the hospital wouldn't give it to her.
Yes, we need it in the higher dose because she got more pain, But, I mean, we take whatever we can take. If they refuse the higher dose, then a lower dose is better than 0 dose. If we take a lower dose, more continuous infusion, maybe we'll get some benefit with that, as long as 24 hours. So we take what we can get. That doesn't...
Well, yeah, but I thought you said that if she didn't get the higher dose, the lower dose wouldn't be effective.
No, it wouldn't be as effective as the higher dose. But if we keep it long enough, it may help. Again, it's better than nothing. I mean, I'm dealing with communication. In this situation, there's nothing I can do. And if you're going to ask me lower dose versus no dose, I would say lower dose. If you're going...
The hell was that?
I don't know.
I moved my mic. I guess it needs a little oil. That's my bad. Holy cow. I didn't realize it would be that loud. Sorry, guys.
Archie Ruckus was about to tear Megan's throat out.
I thought it was one of Jeff's dogs snoring.
I did. I thought it
that
might be Yoda or Strawberry. It's like, geez, Jeff. Get
No,
down
that
those
was,
snoresies. or
That's why I
whatever.
looked around and said, "Ain't mine." What the hell was that? Wow.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I promise it wasn't me. I mute my mic before that.
Yeah, basically it was just like some Wizard of Oz shit there with her microphone going.
Yeah,
all right. Listen, we have some notes for the going drama. Chandler, you're going to be reading Beata Kowalski when she gets put on the stand because you have no more line. Dr. Major is gone. I don't know
I
what
thought
happened.
so. I think she testified, and then I think at page like
That was
86, that's just it. She's out, which it's too bad because I had fun.
She
I
went
had
back
fun
to her
with
rounds.
I had fun with the Southern accent.
Yeah.
so-
Well,
so
now you
Beata-
can try a Polish accent.
Okay. Well, I am actually a quarter Polish, so that could work.
So
Okay.
you can do the whole Polish Florida Jew accents.
I,
Yeah.
don't, I have to work on it a little. I'll mute my mic.
Think
Okay.
Russian, but softer. Like
Yeah.
that's how I just Russian, but just a little bit softer.
Okay, I can do that.
All right, it's
think-
1 p.m. I can safely drink and not feel bad about it.
I heard her talking, so I might be able to. Maybe I should get some vodka for this. You know, the Poles invented vodka. It wasn't the Russians. We invented vodka. so-
Yeah, get some
I was-
vodka.
just saying.
I highly recommend.
Oh yeah.
Is it still
All
the
right, I'm
pear
gonna do
shit?
it. Yeah,
I
that's
was
the
gonna
only.
say
It's the only alcohol that I have currently is this pear vodka in my house.
Derna
I need to
says
go to the liquor
Russian
store.
but sillier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if only my great grandmother had an accent, but I never got to meet her. She actually died the day I was born, 7 years to the day. I wish I could do the accent. Like I haven't spent a lot of time around Polish people, but I will work on it. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Are her lines coming up now?
No, I don't think it's coming up right away. So go ahead.
All right, I'm just gonna
It's
grab
like-
some vodka. I'll be right back.
Polish is like Russian with more intelligence.
Okay.
It's not all that hard, but
I think I can do that.
No,
I think-
it's a very very low bar.
Well,
And you
I want to
Peter-
represent her
yeah.
faithfully. You know,
Yeah.
it's an honor.
if you want to say good morning in Polish, it's dzień dobry.
And it's spelled CKGLVWRP.
I do not
And a C with a little curly Q on the
Yeah.
bottom.
I only know one word in Polish, and it's the word for died because I was looking at my family's ancestry, and that's like it's Zmarla. I
Yeah.
am probably pronouncing that wrong.
In most of former Eastern Europe, if you say kurva, that's a bad idea.
Why?
Everyone keeps forgetting the best Polish word, honchki, which is
What does that mean?
honchkis
Those are those donuts that we eat on Fat Tuesday.
Yes, and Fat Tuesday in
Kielbasa is
Eastern
another
Europe,
great
you
word.
would clean out your cupboards for of all of the things that you were going to give up for Lent, which would be your lards, butters, and jellies and whatnot. And you would
I
make
wouldn't
these
know from that.
intense
Poland
donuts.
sounds like a terrible place.
We were Polish Jews,
Very
so
good.
my family. But I'll grab the
Poland
vodka.
is awesome.
I'll see if I
See,
can.
that's the
let me
thing with
grab
like
the vodka. I'll be right
Poland are
back.
all Catholics and Jews. They have to give up everything all the time.
yes, all the
I
time.
went to a Pulp Fiction bar in Poland, and that was the coolest bar. It was just a Pulp Fiction themed bar in Warsaw, and it was awesome.
All right, everybody, whirl it back to your seats.
Get on with it.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
Get on with it.
No,
Yeah.
where were we at?
Line
Somewhere.
12. Line 12.
Yes.
Go ahead.
If you're going to ask me lower dose versus higher dose, I would say higher dose and then taper down to lower dose. You know,
Higher
if
dose.
if it feels better.
Hi, Sally. Talk with Sally just joined.
Hey,
Oh,
Sally.
Hey,
we
Sally.
have Sally, what's up?
Can she hear us?
No.
We can hear somebody hyperventilating.
Did you put me on already?
Oh, God.
Hold on one sec.
Wow, you're
I
loud.
gotta fix my earbuds. Hold on one sec.
And
your
we're going to fix
microphone.
your microphone.
Drop the mic volume.
So that was her doing Darth
50
Vader. That
decibels.
was-
Yes, that was Sally.
That
Turn
was-
your mic down a little
Is it
bit.
loud or quiet? What's wrong with
Okay,
it?
now
Now it's too quiet.
Oh no, now it's
let
too
me-
quiet.
I'll fix it.
Like
Say
halfway
again.
between them.
Try again.
Talk.
Sally.
Just talk.
Well, that's the opposite of fix.
Now. Oh, she says wait.
Oh, so we're playing
try again.
charades now. Oh,
And
there
while
we
we wait,
Can you hear me?
this.
Give us a mic check. Say
I can
something.
turn my end down.
There we go.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that better?
better.
Just give me 1 second.
go. There you go.
You're good.
No, you're fine. Don't
You're
touch
good
it.
now.
Let
Don't
Megan do
touch
it.
anything. You're
Let
good.
Megan adjust it.
No.
It's all right.
Don't touch anything. You're good.
And by the way, the Polish word for prostitute is the same word
Okay,
as
I'm not touching
the
anything.
Swedish
I'm
word
not
for
touching anything.
curvature, which can
Well,
get
Nicholas
you
is
into
talking about
trouble.
prostitutes now, so I'm touching something, but never mind.
Jeff.
What?
Yep. we're
What?
We're dirty.
That's what
on
I'm
that.
saying.
It's okay.
Have I been
All right,
muted
all
this
right.
entire time? Yes.
He did
Sally?
say his plans got canceled today, so
Sally, I don't think we have a part for you just yet. I don't know if we will have one if there's a new one, but I think if you see somebody named
Now
Miss.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't hear us? That's weird.
That's happened to me where I can hear one person on the panel, but not everybody.
Oh, that's weird.
It's really strange, yeah.
Sally, maybe try going out and coming
Dropping
back
out,
in.
come back in.
Sometimes that helps.
That worked
Plug
for me
it-
last
plug it out
time.
and plug it back in again.
She
The
can't.
funny
hear
thing
me,
is, she
though.
didn't hear you say that.
yeah.
She didn't. She didn't hear me.
You should probably type it in the private
just-
chat.
I'm going to.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to go here.
I'm coming back in. There we go.
It's like everybody's gonna tell her at the same time.
I know.
Like Sally,
Can
get
you
out
hear
here.
us, Sally?
She can't hear.
Sally.
Sally,
You
can you hear us? No, apparently not. Anybody know the who? No. That's
All right.
me.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll kick her and then she'll come
Yeah,
back.
just put
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully she doesn't take offense.
it. Dirtest cat. It
I'll
says,
just tell her.
I
I'll
just
tell
realized
her on
Nick
Twitter.
thinks Polish sounds sophisticated because he's Swedish.
Yeah.
I can't find Beata. I don't know what page she's on, but I'll hang around and.
I'm sure she's
you
there.
have to look up. She's under Mrs. Kowalski. She's
Oh,
not
okay.
Beata. It's Mrs. Because I looked up that the first time. I'm like, how is she not? But it's Mrs. Kowalski.
Okay, so she's coming up on one of the pages sooner.
Oh, I don't know if she's coming up. I just know that in the transcript she's listed as Mrs. Kowalski.
I read ahead in this, and she takes the stand and testifies. So
Got
I know
it.
she's
Okay.
in here.
Yeah, I don't remember her testifying last time, so I've got the vodka. I ran out of lime, but I have the vodka. I had some ginger beer, so I made like kind of a mule, and I finally have copper mule cups. So perfect.
Cool. All right, where were we at? Line
Line 16.
Wrong.
16.
16.
We're with
It only took
Jeff.
us 15 minutes to go through 4 lines of text. Great.
Yeah. Well, we're
Right.
talented. We're a talented bunch. What can I say?
They are. I understand if you were on staff at the hospital and she was your patient,
Yeah.
you would increase the dosage. But the hospital making the call that they think she needs to have a lower dose, and so I'm just wondering how you handle flare-ups effectively when the hospital is not signing on to your
Scroll.
Sorry.
onto your
Ah!
There.
If the lower dose, then maybe we do it more, a longer infusion, and see if they can get some benefit. But at least it's better than nothing.
I understand, but it's not me that's making the decisions. It's the hospital that decides that she needs whatever dosage they think is appropriate. Now, if they accepted your view, they'd be giving her a heavier dose. But apparently, for whatever reason, they make the medical judgment that it should be a lower dose, which is not as effective. I guess what I'm saying is the decision ultimately rests with the facility that she's in as to whether or not they'll give her ketamine to start with, and secondly, whether or not there's a dosage that they accept that's effective.
That is very true. And I can only be consulting physician. And whether they're taking my opinion or no, it's totally up to them. I don't think I have any power in that.
Okay, thank you.
May I ask a question, Judge?
Go ahead. Sure.
Doctor, let me ask you a question. Since my has not been getting ketamine now for several weeks, and I don't know how many it is, but let's say she's been in the hospital for 13 weeks, and she hasn't gotten it for the last 12 weeks. Does the body lose the tolerance for the drug?
Yes, most definitely now we can start her at the lower dose and see if she can benefit.
Okay, so if the court agreed to let Maya go home with her dad, who's retired and can take her to all these places and limit any kind of ketamine to what the hospital would agree to, would that be an option since now she has a lower tolerance for it if she needs it?
Sure, we can always try. Again, lower dose is better than 0 dose.
Okay.
We always try lower and then go higher if you have to.
Okay.
So we always try lower. The lowest dose, that's effective, that's the best dose. That's the general concept.
Okay, thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Woo!
All right, I'm sorry. I jumped in. Did you have some questions?
Briefly, Your Honor.
Go ahead. This is Mr. Silverstein. He's the attorney for the Department of Children and Families.
Okay.
Doctor, are you familiar with Cincinnati Children's Hospital?
No.
Okay, and hypothetically, if you were to learn that they treat children with CRPS, would you have any objection to the child going there?
No. I mean, I don't have an objection to the child going anywhere. We're just trying to compare. And when we try to compare, then I make my decision based on that comparison.
Okay, so you're not familiar with Cincinnati Children's Hospital?
No, I'm not.
Are you familiar with the Kennedy Krieger Hospital in Baltimore as far as what treatment they can provide for CRPS?
No. I mean, do they provide ketamine treatment or no?
I can't answer your question, but I'm just asking whether you're familiar with them and what treatment they can provide.
I don't know why I'm asking the question, but I am.
I don't know the answer. I'm just asking you if you know, even though I don't know.
No, I'm not familiar with them. I mean, basically, CRPS treatment is very simple. It's ketamine infusion, it's psychotherapy and physical therapy. It's the 3 in combination. There's really no magical cure out there. There's nothing new. There's no new technology. If the physical therapy that you start slow and advance as the patient tolerates it. Aquatic therapy is the desired therapy because of less resistance. There are, a few techniques that you do that therapists are aware that any physical therapy does with CRPS. That's a lot of knows.
Well,
You know.
Oh, don't you know?
There's really no magical cure. My physical therapist was doing that. Any physical therapist in Florida can do that. There's nothing special. Baltimore, Cincinnati, there's nothing that they would do more than what I'm talking about. There's no real magical cure here. This is CRPS, and this is the treatment.
Doctor, you just said that you're not familiar with these hospitals and what services they can provide. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, but I'm familiar with all them. I'm familiar with the current treatment for CRPS, and if they do not provide ketamine, then all what they're going to provide is physical therapy and psychotherapy. That's about it. And you can check. And if they provide anything more, please let me know.
Any other questions?
Doctor, do you have privileges with any hospitals?
I do have privileges, yes.
Hospital.
Where?
At Largo.
Largo what?
Largo Medical Center.
And doctor, as far as ketamine, do you know whether or not the child is taking ketamine at this time?
The child is not taking ketamine at this time, as far as I know.
Okay. Are you aware that when the child entered All Children's Hospital that she suffered withdrawal symptoms from ketamine?
There is no withdrawal symptoms from ketamine.
Oh, these assholes.
The hospital gave her pyracetam and ketamine, and they gave her also, I believe, some propofol. Maya has been getting ketamine for the last year. She's not going to have withdrawal symptoms from ketamine. Never. So I'm not sure what you mean by withdrawal symptoms from ketamine. She's taken a lot of other medication that I never gave her before, which Dr. Elliott told me that the reason why they would not release her, soon was any withdrawal symptoms from the pyracetam.
And
that's what he mentioned.
Doctor, to your knowledge, is there any risk to taking ketamine?
We have discussed that before. There is risk with taking anything.
Okay, but...
Even crossing the street.
To your knowledge, can taking ketamine cause memory problems?
I don't remember.
No.
That would have been funny. I can't recall.
No, ketamine. Actually, CRPS causes Jesus Christ.
Neurocognitive.
Neurocognitive dysfunction, and that is present in many studies.
Objection.
That is, ketamine has
Hold on.
shown in several studies that it can correct neurocognitive dysfunction from CRPS. So actually, ketamine will help neurocognitive function with CRPS, not hurt it.
Nothing.
Did he just like
People are just
Well,
ignoring the
Blasted right through
judge.
that objection.
they're just
Hey.
ignoring like
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just ignoring the judge. He never made
Yep.
a ruling. No.
objection and just hold on. We're just gonna keep going up.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
7.
Oh.
Nothing further.
It's just that we already heard all this. Maybe Mr. Silverstein wasn't here.
That's all right. Go ahead, Mr. Salisbury.
God, this judge.
One last question. If the judge were to send Maya to a treatment facility in another state where she would not be able to see her parents regularly and have her family involved in the treatment, do you have any concerns about how that would impact Maya's CRPS condition?
Of course. I mean, imagine a kid, not a sick kid, being away from their parents. That's extremely stressful. Imagine a kid with CRPS with pain not seeing their parents. That would be extremely stressful. And we all know that stress increases pain. So that will increase her pain. And there's one thing I just would like to say, that I'm not sure that I said this before, but I believe one of the major issues in this case was that Beata was infusing IV ketamine at home, correct? So my question is, if Beata was infusing ketamine at home, why did she take her to the hospital? We took her to the hospital because the 4-hour infusion was not enough, and we wanted to continue the 24 hours infusion. So if she actually was doing this at home, why did we ever even send her to the hospital?
Okay.
That completely negates the fact that Beata was giving her any IV treatment at home.
Okay.
She could have simply done it at home if she was doing it at home and not taking the kid to the hospital.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. But your concern is about the emotional aspects of being sent away from her family, causing her CRPS to get worse?
Of course, that's how it presents.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see any other questions. Doctor, we talked at the last hearing about having Maya brought to the courthouse for a hearing and trying to coordinate that with your schedule so you could visit her with her.
I did talk to him about that, Your Honor, and he told me that the financial loss of having to give up an afternoon and come down here was very great. In the meantime, I had an alternative plan that I'd like to propose to the court.
Well, do it now.
Okay. Well, we're not going to be able to get Dr. Duncan to see the child either, and we're still in this holding pattern. So I would like to take the court up on the opportunity to have Maya brought to the courthouse. Dr. Duncan will come to the courthouse, complete her psych testing and interview with the child, and do what else needs to be done. And then on the way back, we can have the uncle or the father transport her. On the way back, they could spin by Dr. Hana's office if we could coordinate that so he could examine her and then take her back to All Children's Hospital.
You're not helping, Megan.
What? You're here.
You're making it worse.
Why am I
Okay.
making it worse?
Wait,
you're
where
moving it around.
I lost my. We're at 7.
We all lost our places.
No, it's
line
107.
107. Line 1. It's the.
Oh, okay.
Aha. All right. We're all here now. What do you think about that, Mr. Silverstein? If that's
Well,
your
Judge, I believe that you previously ordered that this could happen, that the child could be brought to the courthouse, so...
Well, so she stops for lunch with Dr. Hannah.
That's right.
I don't know whether that's an issue with the hospital or not.
Well, we'd get an order to protect the hospital. They wouldn't have to sign on. If there's some medical reason not to do that, I'd like to hear it, but...
Judge, I'm not aware of any medical reason to do it. If the court please, all we would want to have happen would be the court order the child discharged for that purpose and then order that she be taken back. Quite frankly, we would be happy to arrange for discharge of the child on basically any basis, if it's in the child's best interest or on a permanent basis, but...
Well, yeah, but we've got to find a place for her.
How about home?
Right?
Yeah, we're with you on that. Well,
that's not an option, Megan.
God.
All right. What I'd like you to do then...
Flux.
Well...
Oh, sorry. Should we let Dr. Hannah go?
Dr. Hannah, I think we can let you go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah.
Witness excused.
I think what we can do is I'll have you sit down with the attorneys today and draft up an order that would accomplish what Ms. Salisbury has proposed and have that agreed to before you leave here today. It's the old bathe her and bring her to me order.
And I also had one other point. Last time when we were at the hearing, we discussed her leaving on a pass to come to the courthouse where she'd be seen by Dr. Duncan and then transported back to see Dr. Hannah and back to the hospital. So, I mean, I haven't worked in a hospital in many, many years, but I believe your other counsel indicated under the certain circumstances, a patient could have a pass and it might not require a discharge and an admission. But either way, we're fine. We just want to accomplish this so that we can have her seen and give more information to the court.
Well, as I said, the order that you're requesting to have Maya brought here for a court hearing.
That's correct.
And we can pick a date. And if the doctor's here, she'll have an opportunity to do something. And then returning the child to the facility. And then if you want to stop at Dr. Hannah's, that's fine too.
And I can coordinate all that.
Except the parents would not be participating in that.
They would not be participating. You want the uncle to do the transport then?
That's fine.
That's fine.
All right.
Sorry.
Now, let me just go back because we kind of got off track here. There's good cause not to have Maya participate in these proceedings based on the testimony of Dr. Major. So I will not allow that, at least for the moment. The exception will be for the trip here for the next hearing. Let's see if we can get a date for that. That will help you out.
I just need to check with Dr. Hannah what day would be good to do that, because Dr. Duncan indicated Monday or Tuesday next week would be bad, but she's available the rest of the week. So I was thinking of possibly Friday, which we had originally cleared for some deposition time, but I don't think those depots are going to be able to happen that fast. We've got more deposition times now. Would that work with Your Honor if Dr. Hannah could see her Friday afternoon?
I think this is still Dr. Hannah, says the witness.
Oops. Sorry.
Line 18.
Are you talking about January 6th?
No, nobody's talking about that. We're not allowed to talk about that. We're not allowed to talk about that here.
No,
It's just a date.
Nobody's talking about that day. It's the June 1st.
I'll tell you what we can do. Yeah, I can set that up for. We've got the day open, so you can pick a meet. You can pick a time.
Let me just.
But also, the lawyer's here, so they'll know.
I just need to call Dr. Hannah real quick to find out if I can step out if he can see her then?
Well, all right. So we need to address the question of the proposed orders. I've not really had a chance to look at these, so I'm going to have to take a moment to step out to read what you're proposing here, so I'll have a better idea. You just handed it to me this morning, so I'll do that in return here in a few minutes, okay?
I think that's you,
Your
Megan.
Honor, before you decide, I did want to do a closing argument on this hearing, or an argument to try to persuade the court on what our position is.
On what?
On the placement.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do until I read your proposed orders. You'll have a chance to address it. I'm not cutting you off from that.
Okay.
All right.
Sally, you can read the bailiff.
Oh, hey.
The bailiff. Okay, I'm looking to see. Sorry, my
Line
eyes
20
are blurry.
Right here.
Which
Line
one?
25.
It's highlighted.
25. All rise. The court is in
Recess. There you go. Right here.
Okay, recess. I didn't see that one.
I know it goes, it's weird. So these go from left to down on the left side to the top right to the bottom right. They're weird.
Okay.
All right, end transcription of digital recording file. Begin transcription of digital recording file.
All right. We're back on the record here. So I've had a chance to review the proposed orders for placement that each side has submitted. So before we do that, did you have any luck with getting a date?
Yes, I did.
Well, good
And
for
I
you.
also-
You went down to AutoZone, I see.
Your dance car is full.
She took my advice.
I went to Home Depot.
Did you go to the paint aisle and look confused and cute?
Yes, I dropped some swatches, I did the whole thing.
Bend and snap.
Do you know how old the guys are that work in the aisle?
Hey, that's my
and
aisle.
Pretty sure it's the ladies that are being targeted here.
Sally, we're so glad that you fixed your audio and you're here and you're hearing everything.
You know what? The tab. So Google did a change, so you can mute your tabs. Somehow the tab got muted, and so I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't work. And finally, I'm like, well, maybe it's the tab. So
We all have our boomer moments. I totally feel you.
Oh.
All right, where are we at here?
All right, I'm on my
Did you have any luck getting a date?
Yes, I did. And I also wanted to tell you that everything that we put on our proposed order for modification of placement, the parents have been making phone calls and have been working with the facilities to determine if they would accept the child. They've only been put on there because they have received confirmation that the facility would accept the child.
Okay, so we've got January 9th at what time?
January 6th. Isn't it Friday?
No, it's January 9th. We don't talk about that one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. The
June 1st.
9th.
June
okay.
1st.
June 1st.
Okay.
And we would like to have the child here
I thought you said in the afternoon.
in the afternoon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What time do you have available that day, Judge?
I have the whole day.
Awesome.
Pick a time. Pick a time. I don't know about you.
Why don't we have the child here by, say, 10 o'clock, and then she can... I think she wants to meet with you alone.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not as stupid as your fucking hospital.
You're not going to do that?
No.
All right. So I'll have her brought to the courthouse at
she wants
10
to
a.m.
meet with the judge.
Why would
Alone.
judges meet with
With
the child?
now, am I wrong?
Yeah.
Don't judges meet with children all the time in
Yes.
family court?
I would
Yes,
not meet with a
they do.
child alone. In a case like
No,
this,
it's
I would
never-
not meet alone with a child.
I don't
Ever.
think she's.
Especially as a judge.
I don't
Mr.
think
Jim?
she says alone. I think she just
says
says
alone.
Oh, it
She
does
says alone.
alone. Okay.
Well, what-
I
never
think she
mind.
wants to meet with you alone.
Well,
Yeah, never
what she
mind.
means is she doesn't want to she wants to talk to the judge. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
could have said, "Well, I can't meet with her alone, but we can have the attorneys sit in."
Yeah.
Mr.
Right?
Jingles says hi, by the way.
The
I
what?
got a visitor. I got a visitor.
Oh,
By
he's
Mr.
a
Jingles.
kitty.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see Mr. Jingles. Wait,
didn't either.
the screen is too small. I can't see. All right, here. Where's Mr.
Aw.
Aww.
Better than mine. He just jumps down and like roams around my ankles and randomly will bite me.
What are you wearing, Nick?
Clothes? Sweatshirt?
No, it
Traditional
just
Viking attire.
it looked like a
It's a medieval tunic.
Nice.
Sweet.
That's
Nice.
awesome. He's
Right?
always so interesting, isn't he?
I'm like, that's such a cool tunic.
He just does it for the attention. Don't humor him.
Read
he does
between
have
the
that
lines.
chicken hat, but he's not wearing it.
MG Law, you've heard of judges meeting with children, and especially in custody cases and whatnot. What
Yeah,
would
they'll
be
do that. Custody cases.
What would be a reason for him to say no? He's not going to meet with her.
I don't know. I mean,
I
if he's worried about being alone with her, have your bailiff or court clerk in there with you
Right.
too. I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why can't the court clerk just be there?
Because
I
they
don't
are see you next Tuesdays.
This guy
Well,
is
see,
an
I would say
asshole.
they didn't
yeah,
ask for it.
He's an asshole. That's why.
Well,
He's an asshole.
I mean, I think the problem is with the lawyers in this. She wants to meet with your lawyers. I'm not going to do that. They should have said, well, what if we have someone else meet together with you and her?
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't suggest it, so he's not going to suggest that.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we do
Oh,
this?
that
The
makes
judge,
sense.
the judge isn't going to suggest why don't we do this. It's their case. It's what they want to do.
yeah.
Can I
I
play
think it's
devil's
PA
advocate?
Divorce law.
Is there-
Yeah, judges meet with children with a court reporter in the room. That's saying they meet with them in family court all the time.
Is there
course.
any chance at all that the judge is like doing that because they think that bringing her to court would be a risk to her health? Or is that too
They don't give a
compassionate a
shit
stance?
about her health.
They obviously
No.
don't care about her health.
Yeah,
I just like
he
how they're
kind of
talking
said
about
Yeah.
they're talking about taking her to like
Emotions
6 different doctors on the way to and
Yeah.
from.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Well, I
asking.
just like how she's luggage. It's like an evil genius, like a Bond villain. Bring the child.
Yeah.
They can't even give her names. Just
I
bring
know, they
the
don't-
child.
I wish her attorneys would use her name. They're calling her the child also, and
Yeah.
I think that's it's dehumanizing.
Yes.
She's not the
Mhm.
child. She's Maya. Can we
Mhm.
please give her a name?
She's
I
not
mean,
nuclear
I
football.
think people forget that JHACH is rich. You don't think they have influence when
we're
it comes
rich.
to being reelected? And, well, yes,
Yeah.
they were. No, but even that particular hospital, maybe no, but
Yeah.
globally, they have a lot of money.
Mm.
And so you
Yeah.
don't think you can't influence a judge. Re-elections
Yeah.
coming up.
Oh, I'm sure they donate to
Yeah.
all the right
We
campaigns.
talked about this during Verdict Watch. 2020, John Hopkins Children's Hospital donated close to $1 million.
Yep, and they gave
95
30,000 to Republicans, but 100,000. But what was it? It was almost 100,000 to Democrats.
No,
More than that.
Or-
It's almost a million.
out of
Almost a million.
$944,000,
Wow.
30,000
this is
was
just
given
that.
to
This is
the
just
Republicans.
this one company.
Yeah.
This one company they own. They own several
this-
companies.
This specific hospital in
Yeah, just
Florida
that specific
gave
hospital.
$1 million.
Wow.
They have
Global.
And
money.
you, how
Yeah,
much
it's like
you
an
want to bet? How much
billion
you want
dollar
to bet
entity.
that $1 million came from their COVID relief funds? They got 60 million. They got 60 mil in COVID relief funds. We found that
We have
out
donors.
in Discovery. How
then
much you want to
more
bet that they
funds.
kicked back $1 million of it to, the right
Oh, at
people
least.
Yeah.
in their campaigns?
Give $1 million, receive 60.
Yep. Yep. That's how it works. That's how it works.
That's how politicians and nonprofits operate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God, it's
Not
disgusting.
non-profits who just happened. I think top 10 executives at John Hopkins earn an excess of $1.5 million a year before bonuses.
Wow.
I think I need to change
Are
my
these the
career
same
path.
doctors? Are these the same doctors that don't wash their hands before they go do surgery on little kids and kill them?
No,
in their
these are
heart?
the board members, I think.
Yeah, board members and executives and
I
stuff
wonder
like
what they
that.
pay the surgeons who don't wash their hands. All
But
right,
it's amazing
everybody.
that they had a.
They're making
All right, line
mid-six
18.
figures.
Whirl it back to your seats. Let's go.
They are making needles and pins.
Where are we
All
going?
right.
All right.
So
you're
I'll have
here.
her.
Sorry.
All right, so I'll have her brought to the courthouse at 10 a.m. I'll have Dr. Duncan here for a couple of hours, and then her uncle can take her back via Tampa to see Dr. Hana.
Let's just first see if there's time, okay? If the time's okay. The time's okay.
Brad, 24.
Nope, that's him.
Oh,
That's
wait.
still your
what?
line court.
Oh, that's still the court.
Oh! See.
Notice how it's not capitalized. It's not in all caps.
Mr. Silverstein, 10 o'clock.
I'm not sure. The case manager would need to work with the hospital to find out if that's acceptable. And Your Honor, is this just Dr. Duncan in the trial here, or are there other parties going to be here?
No, it will just be Dr. Duncan, the uncle, in one of the side rooms where they will open up the room where Dr. Duncan can meet the child.
We have a jury room back here.
Yes, Your Honor. I just want to know who's going to be there.
What time is it going to be?
I'm saying 10 o'clock Friday.
I think we can call it a status hearing. We may have some other issues we may want to consider then.
Judge, I'm not available.
Well, get Miss Runevich in. Oh, that's a great name. Miss Runevich.
Remember, it's Run Bitch. Her name.
Run a bitch.
I'm not available on January.
Runevich. She lives in like some Scandinavian hut near a
Runevich.
lake.
Don't blame us
No,
for
the
that.
Scandinavians.
Yeah, don't blame us.
Runevich.
Don't be
No.
deliberately racist, Jeff.
Yeah.
We do not take responsibility for the rune witches.
Then who does? Who is responsible for the Runeviches?
The Dutch.
There's only the only people that use runes and have witches are Scandinavian.
The Dutch.
The Dutch. Oh, God. All right, can we move on?
I'm
How
not
about-
available on January 6th in the morning.
Why are
June
you going to a
1st?
protest? I'm sorry. I said
There
move
is
on.
no. That date is removed from everybody's memory. It's June 1st.
How
or
about
January
Ms.
9th.
Runevich?
Those dates were cleared for depots already.
Yes.
No, they were not cleared for depots. We picked a number of dates.
It was before you came back on the case. It was cleared.
Well, just a moment. Hold on. Go ahead, Mr. Silverstein.
I don't know what Miss Runvich's schedule is, and I would like to personally be present since I'm taking lead on this case, Your Honor. If we're going to have the hearing, if it's just going to be the trial meeting with Dr. Duncan,
I don't know that until I finish these hearings today. What is your conflict?
what my conflict is.
Yes.
At 10 o'clock, I have to train some child protective investigators and have a meeting with my staff.
Oh, you have to train some more child investigators to take kids
Yeah.
away from families. Yeah, I
Is
think we
that
can
here
put
in
that on the
Sarasota?
shelf.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
it
has
is.
to train some child PIs.
Is that going to take all day?
No.
We're plowing through.
It doesn't
Well,
even
how
take
about-
all day to train the
How about
child
if we did this at
nappers.
noon?
That is when I'm due to be finished. So if it could be
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock is fine.
So why don't we set it up for 1 o'clock?
I just want to make sure that she has sufficient time with Dr. Duncan and sufficient time to travel to Tampa before the close of business day to see Dr. Hana.
So how long does she need with Doctor?
I asked her how long she thought she needed, and she said, she could probably be done in 1 to 2 hours. She has a little bit of the test to administer to her, and she needs to do an interview. But she has met this child before.
I understand. She testified here.
Right. And she's met the child before.
So if we did it at 1 o'clock, you've got 1 till 3. You've got 3 to 4 to get back.
Yeah.
So she would be able, well, depending on traffic.
Yeah, traffic's another story.
But is Dr. Hannah willing to work with you on the times?
I think he would be willing as long as she's coming to his office.
So you're finishing up at noon.
Yes.
You say that's here in Sarasota.
Yes, Your Honor.
What if we moved it to 12:30 instead of 1 to make sure we have that covered? Does that work for Mr. Hunter? I didn't ask you. I don't know if you need to be here or not.
I was going to say, if it's just going to be an examination, I don't think I need to be. I don't have Mr. Shapiro's calendar with me, Judge. I've got a doctor's appointment that afternoon.
Okay.
You can tell I kind of need it.
We can all.
All right. Well,
Try to ask.
I don't think that will be a problem. I don't know if there's going to be some other issues that we can consider, but that's not going to interfere with Dr. Duncan's ability to meet with the child, okay? So let's hold that now for 12:30 p.m. and let's address the placement issues. Mr. Silverstein, your proposed order. You mentioned Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and I guess the Kennedy Krieger and some other ones. But Mr. Hunter, I think your question is whether or not we should proceed with that option, either one of those, and I wanted to hear from the other side as to their proposal. I've got some questions on yours, so let's talk about the parents' proposal, and I may have some questions about that. So who wants to address it first? Who wants to talk about yours? Do you want to do that, Ms. Van Ness?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
Your Honor, I'd like for you to strongly consider the fact that this is not something that started for this family on October 10th when the child was sheltered, or October 15th. This is something that had been going on with this family for a year and a half. For a year and a half, this family has been struggling to find out what was wrong with Maya. And in their search in trying to diagnose her in different places, they ended up with the experts in CRPS, Dr. Kirkpatrick and Dr. Hannah, who diagnosed her with CRPS. And I think it's very important for this court to consider that the very doctors at all children's hospital cannot agree to what she has. They're basically starting to reinvent the wheel from what this family has been going through for the last year and a half. The testimony from Dr. Hannah has been that sometimes you have flare-ups, and this is why it has to be more aggressively treated. When she had a flare-up, that's when she had to go to Mexico. But the treatment they were giving Maya was keeping her going. With sometimes, she'd be in remission, and then she'd have some flare-ups. And this is when the whole mess started. When the flare-up became so bad that Dr. Hannah told the parents, take her to All Children's Hospital because she needs a longer drip. And the reason we're here is because All Children's Hospital didn't like the ketamine infusion she was... Jeff?
Yes. I have not a clue where we are.
Line 6, 120.
Okay, I somehow skipped a page. That was weird.
That's right. And the reason we're here is because All Children's Hospital didn't like the ketamine infusion that she was...
I have this history. I need you to get to the facilities, all right?
Okay, so what I'm trying to say to the court is for you to move her to another facility. It's going to be the same thing in a different place. I'm asking the court to allow that what was working before to go back. The father is retired. He has all day long to take Maya to the counseling center, to the physical therapy, and if necessary to Dr. Hannah. I've spoken to the family and they're willing to agree to no ketamine treatment unless there's a court order or unless there's some low dosage that the hospital would be okay with. But this was working before. And after 13 weeks, to put her in another facility is going to be the same thing. You've heard testimony. Maya is not cooperating. She's being defiant. And I just don't believe that it's going to be different at another facility, especially if she's being taken out of the state where she's not going to be able to see her father every day or maybe visit with her brother. She might still be able to have no contact, FaceTime with her mom, but she's still not getting any hugs and kisses from her mom.
Okay, but let me ask you this. If I send her home, what if it turns out at the trial that Dr. Smith and Dr. Major are correct in their diagnosis of either factitious disorder or conversion disorder, and that the testimony is, and I'm not saying this is where it's going to go, but the testimony is that the mother's an injurious agent to her recovery and rehabilitation. Where are we at that point?
The mother has agreed to move out of the house.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my God, that's horrible.
That's what Rachel Bruno had to do. Rachel Bruno had to move out of her house.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Same. This is what they do. They try to break up your family. They had Jack convinced that he needed to divorce his wife. This is evil shit.
But she still wants to have contact with the child. And it's going to be hard to control that, basically, isn't it, in the home setting? I mean, we don't know if she comes in at 2:00 in the morning or if she comes in at other times. How do you control that without having somebody else make a decision as to who gets in the home?
Well, 2 points. First of all, I don't know. When Your Honor says, what if those doctors prove to be correct? I don't know how Your Honor gets to pick one doctor over the other about the proper diagnosis. That's the problem with the state's case.
Okay, I understand your argument. You want the kid to go home. And I understand your reasoning for it. Assuming that doesn't happen, what's your plan B?
Okay, and to answer your question about how do you control if mom's coming into the house in the middle of the night, this is not the first child that has been placed with one parent while the other parent's out of the house. And I mean, I know case managers do impromptu checks to see if mom happens to be in the house. And if they want to risk the court order and have contact when it's not approved, then I guess it's a risk they're going to have to take. But they know the child will be yanked out of the house in 0 seconds if that occurs.
Okay, let's go to your plan B.
What's my plan B?
If the kid goes to a facility such as what's been suggested in your proposed order.
Goes to a treatment outpatient facility?
Oh, to whatever option you want.
Okay.
Other than going home.
I don't understand your question. That's what we're asking.
If you go down your list...
Well, no, you presented a number of options here.
Right, I did.
Including going home.
You know what? We worked on it together. The reason why I thought it was important to give you the option is because I wanted to give you to give the court flexibility in determining.
Well, I like options.
I thought you did.
Okay, you're talking about the treatment.
Yes.
If it's in Gainesville, well, the child...
Well, who wants to argue this? One or the other?
The child would still be then, if Your Honor would agree to let the child be with the dad to a certain extent, the places like Gainesville, which they've called the parents, and Maya already has 3 appointments scheduled for physical therapy, January 3rd and January 4th in Gainesville, right?
One in Gainesville, one in Naples.
Okay. So because dad would be able, and possibly Maya would be able, to live at the Ronald McDonald House and be able to go to physical therapy and to the counseling sessions and not necessarily be at home. Judge, I want you to also consider that Maya and Kyle, who Kyle's in the courtroom today, they're very close. To remove her to Gainesville is going to split up the family even more than if at least they're in the same town where dad can come back and forth and not have to be separated from the sibling. And same with Maya.
All right, well...
So these places would allow the father and Maya to stay at the Ronald McDonald House and go to the therapies.
So I've got some questions on this. I'm going to start on page 2 of your proposed order.
Okay, Debbie, you might need to help me.
He said only one of us can argue it.
Oh, God, if it will facilitate this, I don't think it will be a problem. So Magnolia Park, it says for outpatient physical therapy and occupational therapy. How many hours a day will there be PT or OT?
They will evaluate her on the 4th, and they will determine how many hours.
She's so good at this.
That was a good one. They will evaluate her on the 4th and would determine how many hours of therapy would be appropriate for her.
Thank you for
So
translating.
we don't know. So we don't know until the evaluation.
Right.
All right.
And the treatment facility would then dictate that.
All right. And you're suggesting that if the option were accepted, the parents would be able to reside at Ronald McDonald House.
No, I'm not suggesting the parents. I'm suggesting Maya and the father. The mother works and she would be back here in Venice taking care of Kyle.
Okay, so mother and father sick, reside at Ronald McDonald House.
God, he's
like
not
the-
listening.
This is like that scene from the Holy Grail. Not to leave the
Yes.
room, even if you come and get him. So we're not to do anything aside from stop him from entering the room.
Don't let anybody come in the
Exactly.
room.
Uh,
Wow.
have they been contacted and they're going to allow
Yes.
long-term stay there? Residents?
Yes.
Yes.
And there's a cost associated with that. Mr. Kowalski, we have a jack.
Oh, Mr. Sally, you can be Mr. Kowalski.
Okay, what line are we?
18.
Donation?
Donations.
What does that mean?
That means you pay about $40 a day to stay at Ronald McDonald.
All right. And then University of Florida Psychiatric Center?
That's a child.
And again, the question is how much time is going to be spent on behavioral cognitive therapies?
Can I answer?
Yes.
Shut up, Jeff.
The mother has been working on that.
That's usually done once or twice a week, depending on what the psychologist or psychiatrist determines after the initial evaluation.
I did call a rehab facility there. They have a freestanding rehab facility in Gainesville. They would not accept her because they did not have enough psych services available there.
And how would transportation to and from these facilities occur?
With the father's car.
And he's able to do this with a wheelchair?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Right?
She's been in a wheelchair for years. They think that they don't know how to transport their own kid.
Of course
He
not. They're
always
abusing her.
had.
They
He'd
just
been
tie her
taking
to
her-
the bumper and drag her.
Yes. He always had. He'd been taking her to physical therapy in Venice and to mental health counseling.
Line 1,
Yeah.
Jeff.
I know. I was in character here.
Oh.
You're suggesting that the pediatrician, Dr. Wassenaar, and Dr. Hannah continue medical treatment. And where is Dr. Wassenaar located?
He's in Venice. But of course, once they get to Gainesville, if they can establish a pediatrician that could provide care to her up there, you know, I'm sure that they would be looking for somebody locally so that they don't have to drive her home. And if there's anybody associated with the program, they would probably be using whoever was recommended by the program. But I just put that in there because I was trying to give you a comprehensive plan.
And let's see, that's Gainesville.
That's correct.
Now, let me ask Mr. Silverstein, do you have any questions about their plan as proposed for Gainesville?
No, Your Honor. Just how is Dr. Hannah going to see the child?
Well, I think that's a problem. He said he would try to work with whoever the pediatricians assigned at the facility. The difference here is outpatient versus inpatient.
Right.
And also the level or intensity of services being provided as an outpatient. Those seem to me to be the most salient issues here.
Yes, Your Honor. I don't know who the appropriate doctors would be in Gainesville, but the state believes that there needs to be local doctors.
We could locate a local doctor. I don't think that's I don't think that that's an impossible issue.
Well, wouldn't the outpatient facility have doctors that they work with? I mean,
I don't know. And Judge, I'm not suggesting that the state agrees to that
no
option.
I'm asking what questions you have concerning it. I'm not saying you're stipulating to it.
Yes, Your Honor. That's a primary question. Who are the doctors going to be?
They will go with whoever the facility recommends locally. That won't be a problem because usually the facility recommends somebody locally. The other thing I want to point out to the court is that the doctor who testified from All Children's Day indicated that the child could go to medical foster care as long as somebody could get her to the various treatments. And so I don't see any difference between the father living at a Ronald McDonald house and taking her to these various treatments, because all children already acknowledge they want her out of there and that they do not have what she needs to be getting for therapy. And so in the meantime, it seems important to not leave her sitting there and at least put something in place.
So the hospital actually acknowledges they can't do anything for Maya.
Right.
And
they want her out.
This is at the end of December, though, so she's already been there for 2 months.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just let her go?
Yeah, because that would mean that they acknowledge they did wrong against the mother. And mother.
Well, Mr. Monahan, have you got a position on this particular option?
I think Nicholas has to go, so we should say goodbye. He wants to sleep.
Yeah.
Did you say you needed to go?
Yeah, it's almost 6 a.m. here, and this is my hour 26. So
Oh my Lord.
In and out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, Nicholas, and also I enjoyed your bonnet stream. And Nicholas did not get enough super chats to buy himself a bonnet for sleeping, because I recommended a hair bonnet for him with all his glorious hair.
What are those?
It protects your hair when you sleep. A hair bonnet.
Yeah.
And
I need one of those.
I know we all need one. It's great for your hair.
I don't.
No, it's
I don't
good
need
for
one.
hair. Well, maybe
I don't have any hair on the top of my head.
But Nicholas, I think we need to do another. We need to do something to get you that bonnet, because I'm not going to stop until I see
Hair raising fundraiser.
a bonnet
How
stream.
much are they?
$13.
Come on.
No, for real.
But
They're
after,
$13.
after YouTube gets its cut.
It
You know what?
every mood.
No. Step 1 is actually getting me to buy one, and that demands alcohol and money.
And super chats.
Step 2 is actually using it.
It takes alcohol and money.
If you wear it, I'll wear it.
That takes alcohol and money. And step 3 is showing up on stream with that bonnet on.
Yeah.
Which
Or
takes
do that.
alcohol and
Everything
money.
tastes better with blue bonnet on it.
I've already bugged Mrs. Flux enough, and she already told me that it's going to be one of my Christmas presents. And I'm like,
Yes, we're all gonna get
Yes.
bonnets, and then we're gonna
be the bonnet
have
bunch.
a bonnet stream, and then we're gonna do a bonnet nighty night stream. It's gonna be great.
I'm so
What
down.
material is it? Is it like
It's
silk?
satin.
Is it-
It's
Satin.
satin.
Oh,
I
satin.
recommend a
Oh.
silk
like,
pillowcase.
oh,
Silk
yeah.
pillowcases are really good for your hair. I have a couple of them. They're very
Yeah,
nice.
but
hate them 'cause my face
what's
slides
the
off
fun
of
in
them.
that if I can have a satin turban?
Right.
That's true too.
They have satin
Yeah.
turbans as well.
As
I
long as
think
you don't wear it to
Nicholas-
the movies, you should be fine.
I think Nicholas
Somebody-
would look
you might
amazing
complain
in
you're-
the satin
I know you're
turban.
tall.
I'll just sell you one for free and mail it to you.
Yeah. Well, next week
Are
my
you a
schedule
seamstress?
is completely full, and but the week after that I have a few days off, so you can get me absolutely plastered in my stream, in my
Who doesn't
bonus
love a
stream.
drunk Swede?
Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
but for now I need to get to bed. It
you
is
go to sleep. Thank you for being here. You were a wonderful
Night.
Dr. Hannah. You were killing all
Oh,
those
that
big
was
words.
great.
You were
Just like
fantastic.
they're killing patients at Johns Hopkins.
boogly, 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 boo.
All right.
Yeah.
See you
It's nice to
later.
be on
See
stream
you
with
all.
you.
See you, Nick.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
Nick.
Bye bye.
See you, Nick.
All right. Where were we
I have a line
at?
coming up.
Mr. Monahan.
Okay,
That's
Mr.
me.
Monahan.
That's
Have you
Sally.
got a
That's
position
Sally.
on this
Wow.
particular
Your Honor,
option?
One way or the other, it comes to the Hannah's recommendation, or it comes down to Dr. Major's recommendation for inpatient or outpatient. I don't like the idea of taking this child out.
Whoops, sorry.
Up,
Like,
Wait.
up.
well,
Up, out of the state. Sorry, there we go. Of the state.
well, what line am I? Oh, on the
Line one.
Okay, of the state. It's been very difficult for her. Okay, my eyes are blurry. It's been very difficult for her to see and have contact with the family. So I do have some concerns there. But I defer to the court as far as what's the best okay, I can't read. My eyes are blurry.
And by the way, Monahan is the guardian ad litem lawyer for
Okay,
the
then.
Guardian, lawyer for the Guardian ad litem.
I see.
Okay. So I'm going to start back on line 2 after the period. So I do have some concerns there, but I defer to the court as far as where. What's best for where this child should be placed?
Okay. Well,
Is this
let
me
me move
still?
then to nope, it's me. Okay. Well, let me move then to the Naples option here. Tell me about the Waterworks total rehabilitation.
I'm going to ask the mom to just tell you because she investigated all of these issues. Or all of these.
What was the question?
Waterworks. He wants to know about Waterworks.
You know what? I didn't have her sworn. Raise your right hand.
Yeah,
Lady
Kowalski was sworn
was
by the court, responding, "Yes, I do." To the
Yes,
oath.
I do.
All right. So, what do you know about Waterworks?
Waterworks offers aqua therapy. The temperature of the water is 94 degrees, which is optimal for Maya's RSD condition. They specialize. They have a therapist, pediatric therapist that works with CRPS children, and they have equipment that they use in the water for CRPS kids. And this therapy is usually done about 3 times a week, but they do have to evaluate her first. We do have an appointment set up already for her evaluation next week.
So this is an outpatient concept too.
Yes.
It's similar to Gainesville, with you all living at Ronald McDonald's house in Fort Myers.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay. So tell me about not you, but the father and Maya. And how about the scrambler therapy? Tell me about that.
Scrambler therapy is a program by Dr. D'Amato in Bonita Springs. He designed this machine. It's a non-medication, non-invasive electrodes type of machine that he applies to different areas of the limbs. It works sort of like an acupuncture, but it's...
Oh my gosh, this is what Mo got, I think, except
Yeah. Just
hers
probably a
might have been
Tinsman.
implanted.
Yeah. Jeff.
But it's...
What do we?
Jeffrey,
What's
line
happening?
two?
Line
You're at
two.
line 2.
33.
133, line 2.
Ah, okay. I went down. Sorry, I went down to 135. Idiot me. Is it electrical stimulation?
It's not electrostimulation. It's different. It's called Calmar.
I like calamari. What's the scrambler?
Well, we can pull it up for you and read it to you what it is. I have it on my website.
I don't need to do that now.
It's very short.
It's like a form of biofeedback.
Yeah, it offers biofeedback. It has a great success with CRPS patients.
I would like to point out to the court that biofeedback was one of the things mentioned by the doctor who testified from All Children's today.
How about Eagle's Wings?
Eagle's Wings is the therapist that the child was seeing before she was hospitalized at All Children's. And she had expressed to Dr. Duncan, I think that during her visit with Dr. Duncan, that she really liked the therapist and missed seeing her and how frequently she could be seen.
Well, she can be seen there as many times as it's necessary. In the past, Maya was seen there once a week, but she could be seen there 2 or 3 times a week if needed.
And it's my understanding from what I've seen in the notes, they were working on relaxation techniques and things like that to help her deal with her feelings of pain and that type of thing.
Okay, so again, you don't have identification of a therapist by name, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in there. It's right in there. It's Rebecca Johnson. Becky's a whole name. And that who was seeing her. She's sorry.
This is why we love you.
I see a bitterness.
she's a licensed she's a licensed. She's a licensed. I believe she's, I want to say, master's prepared social worker and licensed.
And she's agreed to do this.
Yes, we have an appointment set up with her as well on Wednesday, the 4th. Is it the 4th that Wednesday?
Yes.
Jeff, Mr. Kowalski? Yes? Oh, okay.
Sally.
I'm losing Mr. Kowalski. Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right. So those are the options here. Now, Mr. Silverstein, any comments or questions about that? Again, I'm not asking you to stipulate to any of this.
Well, Your Honor, it's unclear from these plans how often the child is going to receive treatment, and Dr. Major indicated that the treatment is going to be frequent, like daily treatment, mental health, and physical therapy for this child.
You're saying that right now, Dr. Johnson will be seeing the child once a week.
There's an appointment scheduled for the 4th, and I think they would do an evaluation. If they recommend more, then there would be more.
And the mom said she could be seen 2 or 3 times a week there.
And to answer Mr. Silverstein's comment about what Dr. Major testified, Dr. Major is primarily relying on a conversion disorder diagnosis, not a CRPS diagnosis.
All right.
Dr. Hanna testified that if you get too aggressive with the physical therapy, that could cause more harm.
All right, let's go to the Orlando option, Florida Hospital, Celebration Health. Again, the question is, well, here it says they have physical/occupational therapy, outpatient, along with pediatric aquatic therapy.
That's correct.
So do we know the frequency of that?
I think, again, an evaluation.
It
This
would
is
be
a
the
clown
same
court.
thing. It would be the same thing. Evaluation, treatment proposal once they see Maya. Again, it's aqua therapy, and it can be done 5 days a week as long as that's what the therapist agrees that that's what Maya needs.
And then again, here we don't have a mental health progressional.
That's like cursive words.
Speaking cursive.
We'd have to identify one in the area.
It's Orlando, so it should not be a problem to identify one.
There's plenty of mental health professionals in that crazy part of town.
Think about how large the population
It's a
is.
celebration. So.
Mr. Silverstein, any questions or comments about that?
Your Honor, I would like to point out that I'm kind of working from 2 proposals. I guess the one with the options I received today, is that correct? Because the one I received at the last hearing only had the Gainesville option. However,
I'm showing 3 options here.
Right. That's the one you have.
That's the one. I gave it to him.
today.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Judge, I don't know if these facilities, whether they can address this issue. I mean, in my position, I would ask someone at All Children's to contact all these facilities to see.
Well, that...
Hold on, let him finish. Go ahead.
To see what kind of treatment they can provide and whether they can address these issues.
Well, you know, Dr. Major was recommending intensive inpatient.
Yes.
Neither of these options are intensive inpatient. He also said it's possible to do outpatient, but it's very demanding on the participants.
Yes. What I'm assuming is due to the frequency of the need for the treatment. So I'm at a loss as to really all these facilities as far as ability to handle this.
Well, the question is really whether or not the treatment offered, either inpatient, well, as an outpatient, is going to be efficacious to address the kid's problems as diagnosed, at least by Dr. Major.
Yes.
Dr. Hannah's position is she doesn't need to travel. She doesn't need that level of intensity. She needs a lower level. So that's where your conflict is, basically.
Yes.
I can understand that. Mr. Hunter, do you have an issue on any of this?
I'll just point out to the court the fundamental position that All Children's has taken, I believe, from the outset of this is that we would like to see this child transferred to a facility and into a setting that has the capability of meeting her comprehensive needs.
I'm sorry, stop. Is anybody else as pissed off as I am that the hospital's goddamn attorney is pushing to have this child sent out of state? What is it to him? Is it because they've made so many mistakes that he just wants to get her shoved under the rug somewhere in a different state? Is that it?
It's all about
Probably.
money. It's all about money. If you go out of
Yeah,
state, it's going to cost more to be out of
yeah.
state, more funding, more this. It's all about the Benjamins. It's so sick.
Well, you also have to look at it from where they're trying to, if they're thinking it's this fictitious disorder, that the farther away they can get Maya from Beata, then it's better for Maya
But-
in their view.
But that's
Christina
like
makes a good
bullshit
point
because
here.
she's been in
This
the
is what I was
hospital for
trying
how
to
many
say.
weeks?
This is what I was trying to say. This is a DFS matter.
Yeah.
Why does the hospital care? Why should they be involved? Why should the hospital be involved in this decision? They have admitted they cannot care for her. She needs to go somewhere else. That's when you back off and let the court decide. This is why is
If
he
you're a
fighting so
parent-
hard for this? I'm gonna be sick.
Money.
It's about money. This
Well,
at the
do you
end
think
of the
that
day,
do you think that Hopkins is tied to the Cincinnati Children's Hospital or
Or
Kennedy?
they're getting something on the back end
Absolutely.
for referrals.
They've
Oh
got to be
my
getting a kickback.
Lord. That's
I
a
guarantee
really
there's a shell company or it's a proxy. I guarantee it.
Or
It's shell
saying
company.
they have some agreement they're going to get something back on the back end for the referrals.
Look of the
over
board of directors of those
that
hospitals.
could be. That could be. All right, sorry. Go ahead, MG. Line 7.
Okay, let's see. The advantage of Cincinnati Children's or Kennedy Krieger, understanding all the concerns about geography, the advantage there is that you have got specialists and subspecialists that can address every single facet of the child's need on site at the time and available. If you go with an outpatient setting and you're going to have a team meetings like she was describing in her testimony earlier, if you go with an outpatient setting, you're kind of going into unavoidably, I think, into kind of a helter-skelter situation where you've got one type of therapist over here and one type of therapist over there. They're not communicating with each other. They're not having team meetings. They're not.
Your Honor.
Quiet. I thought Mr. Hunter was. I thought Mr. Hunter was.
Oh,
Chandler.
Oh.
No.
I wish somebody would look at me and just say quiet.
Quiet.
Silencio.
Quiet, Flux. Quiet.
This is kind of aggressive, isn't it?
It is
What do
very
you mean
aggressive.
quiet? In court, she's allowed to interject. She's allowed to object or say something.
Quiet.
How is this all-
I'd be
Quiet. God damn it.
We are being quiet. What do you want from us?
There.
Who's
They're not-
Hunter? Oh,
They're not
Just wanted to
necessarily
shout, Hunter.
interacting with one specific physician or set of physicians who is in overall charge of care and coordinating among each other or with each other in person in a team environment. This child has a very complex set of needs, and I suggest to the court that the best alternative for the child ultimately is going to be one in which her needs can be evaluated comprehensively, have any type of therapy or subspecialty care that she needs available on site, and that be a circumstance into which she is discharged. I would suggest to the court that we would be prepared to work as diligently as we can to effectuate her admission to a facility such as Cincinnati Children's or Kennedy Krieger as quickly as possible. I'd also suggest to the court that if we're able to do that in the next 10 days or so, that would also facilitate her being examined by Dr. Duncan and or Dr. Hannah on the way to that transfer, as opposed to putting us in the position of having to admit and readmit or give a pass or whatever. It would be a nice, clean discharge. You'd have the visits with these other two physicians on the way. Then you'd have an admission that could truly comprehensively address this child's needs.
Everybody likes a nice, clean discharge. Ms. Van Ness.
Oh my hell.
Judge, with all due respect, Mr. Hunter and the hospital are not a party to this case. So I don't know why his opinion or the hospital's opinion matters. The hospital doctor, this is what I said. The hospital doctors are witnesses that are being presented by the state. So
I would like to add that I want to kick Hunter in the dick, and that the hospital doctors so far have testified that they're not experienced CRPS experts, and we have not been able to get our experts to examine the child. And we also have a flight to Rhode Island, yet with Dr. Chopra coming up. And also, I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why the hospital wants to maintain control and send her to an inpatient treatment facility, because they're the ones making the allegations of Munchausen's, and their staff have rotated in and out, and this child has no continuity of care at a very big, large treatment facility called All Children's Hospital. In fact, it was disturbing to read the notes where she said she hoped she wouldn't be there for Halloween. Halloween came and went. She hoped she wouldn't be there she wanted to be back with her family for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving came and went. Her birthday came and went. Christmas came and went. We need to get her out of there. Her own doctors testified that she could not go to a therapeutic foster home and that there's no reason her dad can't take care of her. You have nothing but her life and her time that she's losing sitting in that hospital by holding off and not discharging her to her father. You can put whatever restrictions you want on the mother, and that's not going to have to deal with them. You have a vehicle. If you think you need to do it, and she's not going to like me saying this, under 39.504 to put an injunction in place that she's not to have any unsupervised contact with the child. If she blows it, you can take action against her. No one has ever told you that he did anything wrong. I believe in Dr. Smith's testimony, she said she really didn't have anything to say about him. You had a hearing on him. You found him to be appropriate for unsupervised visitation. And then the hospital restricted him again. And you never heard any testimony about why that was. Just that the child won't cooperate. And the child, they know the child is angry with them. They know the child, she's angry at being there. She does not feel her treatment is appropriate, and she is a strong-willed child. So he's never done anything wrong. He's going to follow all the directives of this court. Let's get her out of there. That's what we talked about. Come to court prepared with proposed orders and that you would rule. And we have given you multiple options to keep her right here in the state of Florida where her parents can participate in her treatment. And maybe you don't want the mother to participate right now, and that's fine. Take her out of the picture then. We have given you multiple options to get her out of the hospital where they have not been able to fix her in all these weeks.
You done? Anything you want to offer, Mr. Zimmerman?
Who's Mr. Zimmerman?
I think that was me.
Mr. Zimmerman. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That was MG.
Judge, I think I'm going to back up Miss Salisbury on this point by saying this. What we've got here is a courtroom full of lawyers and a judge having what appears to be a very legitimate discussion and debate over what this child's proper medical treatment should be. So it's a legitimate conversation. I don't know that it's an appropriate conversation in this sense. There's been a critical change in this family's life once they took her up to All Children's, and that is now there's this bureaucracy involved in this case that wasn't there before. So I understand Your Honor's concern is the ultimate concern, which is we're going to have a trial. I wish we could avoid it at this point, and during that trial, we're going to determine whether there was child abuse. But now that we are where we are, and we know that All Children's is not the appropriate place temporarily, the fact that there is this bureaucracy in place led by Mr. Silverstein in this case, can serve as an absolute protection for the child. So I do agree with Ms. Salisbury to order the appropriate protections if you feel that the mom should in some way be sequestered. But there's no indication there related to the dad. And I think, quite frankly, this incredible effort we've been going through in the past month to try to sequester this family from the medical treatment, it's failed. It has not gotten it hasn't gotten this child anywhere. So wherever you put the child, quite frankly, and I would prefer it to be in the state of Florida, I think that's the greatest degree to which you loosen any restrictions on the family contact is what's going to most benefit this child. If you feel the need to put in some restrictions for mom, I would hope that would satisfy the state. And I think it would satisfy that problem till we have this trial, which is inevitable, quite frankly.
Mr. Monahan, do you have anything you want to add?
Oh, Zimmerman, by the way, was Maya's attorney. Just putting that out there. That's Maya's attorney. He could have fought a little harder.
Sally, I think you're Mr. Monahan.
Oh, no, Your Honor.
Judge, I just want to briefly say something about the restrictions of Mom. Let's not forget that during this whole episode, Mom was acting under the direction of a doctor. And it all happened. It all went crazy because Mom wanted to take the child out of the hospital because the hospital wouldn't administer the dosage that Dr. Hannah was recommending. Mom was acting under the direction of a doctor. She has been compliant with the phone calls. She has not hugged or kissed her daughter in 13 weeks. She has agreed to move out of the home. So let's not go crazy here with Mom not being able to have contact with her daughter or following doctor's orders and not restrict her anymore. But I understand that if this is how we're going to get the child home, Mom will continue to obey the rules that have been given to her because she has been compliant with it for the last, she hasn't gone up to the hospital, she hasn't called when she wasn't supposed to, and she's willing to move out of the house. I think she's shown some good faith and willing to participate with the court's orders of not having contact, and Your Honor does not allow her to have.
All right. Let me just project out an issue that I think we really need to consider, and that is this.
Really?
Let us assume that I accept one of the parents' options, and the child is released into the facility that's treating CRPS. We go to trial. The child's been there for a month and a half. And the evidence is that it supports the government's position that there's factitious disorder or conversion disorder. That means the therapies that are being addressed to the child are not compatible with her medical needs. She's in a facility that is applying a therapy, a rehabilitation approach inconsistent with what the evidence shows she should be getting.
He wasn't listening.
Yeah.
What?
He wasn't listening. The judge wasn't listening.
What?
What?
You are hard of hearing in your left ear, and I am certain of it.
Yes.
Please
So
get that
then-
checked out. Go to an ear, nose, and throat doctor. I am sure that you have vertigo. Just saying.
So then what would happen, presumably, is the court would have to order, if that happened, would have to order the child's therapy to be interrupted, to be returned to one that is medically appropriate. I mean, that's a possibility. I'm not saying that's going to happen.
I understand.
So here's a question that I think I need to have answered by the 3 facilities in Florida and also from any of the ones out of state. Are they going to do an assessment based on their evaluation and examination and looking at the history, independent of anything that Dr. Hannah, Dr. Smith, Dr. Major, anybody else has made as to whether or not the diagnoses that are in conflict here are in fact something that needs to be addressed? I guess what I'm coming to is if they make an independent assessment, they conclude, yes, it's CRPS, or it's conversion disorder and fictitious disorder, or they're not knowing it, that they will then apply the necessary rehabilitation approaches to whether they think that's the correct diagnosis. So in other words, if any of these facilities are just going to take off and accept whatever the hospital or whatever either Hannah says or the other people say, that's not going to be good, because then I'm going to have to change if I find something different. But on the other hand, if any of these facilities is going to say, well, we'll look at the medical records, we'll take Dr. Hannah's opinion, we'll take all Children's Hospital opinion, we'll look at that, but we're not going to accept as a blank check whatever they say. We're going to do our own evaluation and determine, and you can get a confirmation of that. There'll be an independent assessment, and not so that if it turns out that they come in with CRPS, but later on they have the ability and the expertise to determine that's incorrect, then I feel I'm going to be more comfortable with the placement. Same thing if they go in with their conversion, or they say, or they go in with fictitious disorder and say, this is crap, this is really CRPS, and are able to treat that, then I'm more comfortable sending them on to a facility like that. So the ability for them to assess independently and to evaluate independently and have those expertise to determine which of those diagnoses is more likely is the one that I think would be the most persuasive to me. Now, having said that, I'm not sure I'm going to change any status quo yet, but I'm just saying, to me, that's an important issue, because I don't want to get down the road having given the child the treatment in Cincinnati or Baltimore or wherever, and then find out later at trial, that it's totally wrong. That's not good for the kid.
I agree with you. And I think we're all in agreement, because from what I know, that's why the parents want her flown down to see Dr. Chopra too. And that's why we started out with this. And that's what we started out with in this courtroom. You had the foresight to see that at the very beginning, and to say we can't find another CRPS expert that can really affirmatively tell us whether this child has CPS or not. And we found one, but we can't get her flown down because...
But here's the problem with that, Ms. Salisbury.
What's the problem with that?
If Chopra comes out and says, I'm absolutely convinced CRPS, that's great. Because you say he's got great credentials. He's recognized in the field as being a racist.
Yeah, that's deliberately racist.
Dr. Chopra's a guru. Judge.
Judge.
So he's basically saying your expert's crap because you're calling him. I'm not going to accept your expert. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, they've still got their experts. One of them just happens to be a real Indian guru. They're going to say we disagree with Dr. Chopra. That's why we have the trial. In other words, I
understand that.
I can't prejudice the credibility or the qualifications of these people until I see them in court and we have a chance to vet their testimony and I have a chance to see it in person. So
I agree.
I mean, it could be that I'll accept everything Chopra says, or I might accept Dr. Smith. I don't know what I'm going to do until I see
He's a liar. He accepts Dr. Smith all the time.
So
liar.
I accept Dr. Smith all the time. So the fact that I'm suggesting she go see Dr. Chopra is because I want you to have the opportunity to have the best experts you can to rebut what they're presenting.
I agree. And I just can't get her flown here because as long as we are sitting, as long as we leave her sitting in the hospital, we're not going to be able to.
There's a separate issue than what I'm talking about now. What I'm talking about now is possible placement in the facility that has the capacity to make the most independent judgment medically as to what treatment regimen needs to be addressed. Now, it may be that the therapies that need to be done from the cognitive behavioral are not all that different regardless of the diagnosis. I mean, that's a possibility. I think Dr. Major said there might be some differences, but what I'm saying is that I need to have the comfort that I'm not going to have to reverse course after trial and change this child's therapy.
Well, Judge, can I make a comment here? Because I think that's a very interesting point. The trial is not going to be about, I would think, what's prospectively the child's most appropriate treatment. Because I think everyone acknowledges here that there's a potential for there to be additional conflicting diagnoses going forward. The point is this, here's my hypothetical to you, Your Honor. How do you know that after further evaluation, let's just say a new doctor, a new facility says it is conversion disorder, with some physical findings. How do we know that the parents wouldn't say, fine, we now find that to be the most outstanding diagnosis and we'll follow that? They were just following Hannah. So the trial's just going to look backwards. The court's going to find out they were just simply following medical orders.
Didn't work at Nuremberg, so why does it work in this case? We were just following medical orders from Dr. Hannah.
It's true.
And then we brought them to the United States.
Well, let's play it out. I mean, obviously, if your side establishes what you say, that the parents were doing the wrong thing, and the parents were simply following the best medical expertise they could locate, they were in good faith trying to help their child. The kid goes back, right?
I agree.
Right.
On the other hand, if they're right, what happens is they get a case plan. They get a case plan. The child's declared dependent.
But
I'm sorry, but where's Maya's lawyer?
Hold on.
But I'm not following you.
Hold it. If we have a trial, and I agree with them, that there's been a misjudgment by the parents that has been, well, amounts to child abuse under the statute, the child is declared dependent. And then I would decide what the tasks are in that case plan. And one of the tasks might be to engage in therapy with the child and follow the recommendations of the doctors, which is pretty common. And then if they decided that they didn't want to do that, then that would cause consequences for them as far as their relationship with the child, and the court would control that. On the other hand, if the parents say, you know, we still think it's CRPS and we're going to go to therapy and do whatever we need to do, and then they work their case plan, substantial compliance, I'm out of their lives within 12 months, probably earlier, if the child's able to go back to their home.
But here's a question that we still haven't answered, Judge. I have no doubt that in this trial, you're going to have their doctor saying she doesn't have CRPS. And I am certain that our experts, who are the people who wrote the book on CRPS, will say she has CRPS. And this is why I hope that over the break, you read articles. It is not the province of this court or any other court or any government agency to stand in and say, oh, this is the proper diagnosis, or this is the proper diagnosis. What if you make a mistake and their doctors are wrong? This is not about whether the child has CRPS or not. And if, like, I don't understand how a parent following doctor's instructions can be said to have child abuse, and then if you believe their doctors that it's conversion disorder and it isn't, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, what I'm saying is that the tasks that will be in this case plan will be tailored in large part on the diagnosis that the court accepts.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's your honor's job to decide which is the proper diagnosis. What if you make a mistake? How are you in a better position to decide which is the proper diagnosis?
Well, how can I approve a case plan? What tasks if they're right?
Because usually it's about parents abusing drugs or not having a home or not having a job or drugging in front of kids. It's not about medical diagnosis. It's not about a medical diagnosis that may be right or may be wrong. How are you in a better position to say that their doctors are right and our doctors are wrong? Where did you get your medical degree?
Your Honor, if I could just make one point.
Well,
Judge, this case is not about drug use. It's about Munchausen's, where allegedly the parent sickens their child for specific secondary gain. But I would point out that the reason this case started is not because the mother was doing something in secret. Quite the opposite. She brought her child to this hospital and made what to the hospital was an outrageous statement. To her, it was a bona fide medical, request, but it was an outrageous statement that triggered this whole thing. So the point is that these folks are really not, there's not even an allegation that they were operating in secret. Quite the opposite. They very boldly made the statement. So I don't think it's going to turn out that they were operating in secret to do this. There's not even an allegation of that.
Well, that's a great argument for your trial.
I know.
And I understand that.
That's the point I'm making.
I mean, why would a person who's engaged in what the hospital has accused her of bring her to a hospital?
Right.
I mean, I understand the argument. They still have the right to make their counter argument.
Oh, sorry. Well, and the other thing that I would point out to the court is the longer that the child sits at All Children's, we hear at every hearing that All Children's has no intention of working with this family. So the clock is ticking. And if we don't get her out of there, we can't start to heal this family. No matter what the issue is, we cannot start to work with anybody because their own psychologist will not deal with the parents. They will not include them in team meetings. They're basically violating their rights to participate and have knowledge of their child's care. It's not because they're inappropriate. They're sitting here. They've been at every hearing. We saying we want to participate. We want to do what's right.
I want to come back to the issue that I threw out to you, which is the inconsistencies and the need. And Ms. Van Ness may quibble or contend that I don't have that authority, but ultimately, what we've got to look at is what's going to happen to this kid. And if I make a decision that's compatible with the state's position, there's going to have to be some sort of task that the parents will have to comply with and that will be conforming to the medical diagnosis that I accept. I don't want to get into that today. What I want you to do is this.
Yes.
I need to know if the staff for these facilities, out of state, in state, are going to have the expertise and the motivation to do their own independent assessment of what this kid's diagnosis is. They need to be able, I need to have comfort. If I don't have that comfort and I can't be convinced that they're just not going to accept whatever the diagnosis is coming in, whether it's CRPS, conversional disorder, that they're going to do their own independent assessment. And yes, they may look at these other things and they may accept one point of view or the other. They may start out with one diagnosis and then change once they've had a chance to work with the kid. But I need some sort of verification or comfort from these facilities that that is a possibility and that they will do that. Now, Mr. Hunter, do you have a position on that?
I cannot. I can tell you what my perception is, Judge, and it's simply this. There are two options before you that will put this child into the position of assessment, or should I say reassessment, and diagnosis and treatment by a major medical center. One is at Cincinnati Children's, where you have available multidisciplinary capability of looking at this child from the standpoint of chronic regional pain syndrome experts, psychiatric experts, and everything in between. It would be my expectation in the ordinary course of practice of medicine that if they accepted this child for transfer, they would indeed look at the chart, look at the history, look at the diagnosis, but do their own independent assessment and diagnosis in the process of determining what they think the child's treatment needs to be.
So start all
should
over
be
again.
going forward.
Start from square one.
The other alternative that you've been presented involves assessment and treatment of the child by the chief of psychiatry at Shands. Now, I don't know this lady, but she is the chief of psychiatry at Shands Teaching Hospital, University of Florida. I would assume that she would in fact do the same thing. She would look at the history. She'd look at the entire presentation. She had assessed the child herself. Then she would make a determination of, is this in fact conversion disorder? Is this within my strike zone or my wheelhouse, or do I need to refer to other specialists? And Shands has, if nothing else, a wide variety of specialists available to treat this child. Although, as I understand it, they don't do this on an inpatient basis. They would do it on an outpatient basis. Whatever the case, in either of those options, you've got that available. If you send the child simply to a community-based rehabilitation operation, and I don't know, I'm not familiar with these places, so I can only speculate, but most just therapeutic agencies don't have physicians on staff, let alone multidisciplinary capability that you're going to find in a major teaching hospital.
Well, who are you referring to at Shands Psychiatric?
Dr. Bussing was the name I heard.
Yes, we're trying to get her.
She's as I understood it, and we looked at the website, she's chief of psychiatry at Shands, and I believe she's a pediatric psychiatrist. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, once again, to me, the major difference that Your Honor has, I think, very perceptively put your finger on is the need for this to be independently assessed and looked at with a new set of eyes that aren't, tainted by the competition one way or the other. In either of those events, you've got it. You can argue inpatient versus outpatient, but in both Cincinnati and in Gainesville, you've at least got the force and gravitas of a major center behind the initial assessment and the assessment of what the child needs. And any party objects to an independent assessment, and everyone acknowledges that there could be a confirming diagnosis either way or contradictory either way. The problem I have is if she's put into, say, Cincinnati, or wherever she's put, if she's sequestered from the family, what progress are we making in the interim? Because we're going to have a trial, and that's all going to be resolved at trial. But in this interim period, what progress are we making in reintegrating this child back with her family, where, by the way, there's good indication that is, in her best interest? I understand that in Sally Smith's report, there's a contrary opinion there. But Judge, I don't think all we're doing is getting her potentially appropriate treatment and a new diagnosis in the interim while we resolve this. I really think that the better approach is any approach that has some significant family reintegration.
So even Hunter wants her to have more family integration in this.
No, this is Zimmerman. This is Zimmerman.
Oh, I thought you were reading Hunter.
No, they were back to back.
Okay.
My accent had to change just a little bit.
Darn it. For a second, I was like, maybe he does have a soul.
No.
Me too.
He does not.
No, he's black.
No.
Yeah. Well, phrasing.
What?
No, black heart. Black heart. Black-hearted. What am I phrasing?
Sally.
Take that out of context, everybody.
Wow, Sally.
He's black-hearted. He's dark. Honestly, I'm Maya's lawyer right now. I've spoke 2 times in this whole entire thing. Where is Maya's lawyer fighting for her rights?
Vanessa is her lawyer. I am. So is
okay. I thought
so you're the guardian ad litem.
Yes, guardian ad litem represents.
No,
it's like
no, you're the guardian ad litem's lawyer.
Yeah.
The guardian ad
represent the
litem is
guardian.
not here.
Oh,
You're the lawyer who represents the guardian ad litem.
Okay,
Is
that
it
makes
safe
more
to
sense.
come
I
back
was-
on
I was just
camera?
I was getting mad because I was like, I thought I was the guardian ad litem, and I'm like, I'm not even defending my client.
No,
I
but
was
the
being-
guardian ad litem would not be doing that because the guardian ad litem is actually not the attorney for the child. She is the court appointed attorney who is supposed to look out for the best interest of the child. But she works for the
Yes.
court. She works for the court. And it's
But
a
she should
different
look out
thing.
for the child. But she still should look out for the child. and
But
her
they
interest,
don't.
though.
They're
Yeah.
looking
I
out
know,
for
but it
the
makes
what's
it
called the best
stupid.
interest of the child, which is not really about
Whatever
the
the
child.
state was, whatever
No,
the state
It's what the
thinks it is.
state wants.
Yeah.
Yes, who's
Although
gonna
the
make
guardian
money
ad
off of
litem's
this?
lawyer, the Monahan has agreed with Maya's attorneys here. So
As MG can say, there some guardian ad litems are civilians, some are lawyers,
Yeah.
depending on what
Right.
type of guardian is being appointed by the court.
Yep.
all right, Jeff, how many pages do we have left?
4 left.
Oh, good. Okay.
All right. It's taking
Well,
about an
4
hour
sheets.
for every 4 pages.
Okay, I won't distract. Sorry, my bad.
So we got about an hour left. It seems like.
Line
No, we
20
only have 3 pages left.
Yeah, but
24.
it's taking about 15 or 20 minutes per page.
All right, line
Oh,
24. Miss Salisbury, let's
Yeah.
move.
Well,
No,
let me
I
ask you
have
this, Ms.
not.
Salisbury. Have you had any contact with Dr. Bussing?
No, I have not, but I will make that contact if that's what the court would like me to do.
Well, okay. Here's the best I can do today.
The mother has been making those arrangements and getting in touch with the facilities.
Well, here's the best I can do today.
Yes.
Mr. Hunter, I want you to charge full steam ahead on any of the out-of-state options, primarily Cincinnati and Kennedy Krieger.
Yes, sir.
I'm not saying I'm granting that. I want you to start the process, whatever you got to do to see if they're accepting and all that.
Yes, sir.
Now, on your side, I want you to check with the facilities that you've proposed and see if they have the capacity and the expertise to assess conversion disorder, factitious disorder, and if they have the ability to do that. As opposed, I would expect most of these come in with a confirmed diagnosis of CRPS. They're not worried about that. Now, it may change later, but I want you to be able to tell me if these facilities do have the capacity to make that independent assessment. And
As to conversion and factitious?
yeah, in other words, your proposal says you're interested in CRPS, but let's say they get into it and they find out, maybe it's not that, maybe it's something else. Do they have the capacity then to apply the necessary rehabilitation regimens for that option? Okay, that's why I'm mentioning it. In addition to that, and again, I'm not predicting I'm going to do any of these, but it would help me to see if we could get an assessment from Dr. Bussing, an evaluation of the child.
Okay.
If that could be set up for an evaluation with her fairly quickly. Now, I don't know how long that takes. Anybody have any idea?
No.
I mean, the actual eval or evil, the actual eval, because she's got to look at the medical record. She's got to meet with the kid and all that.
The medical records are voluminous too. I think that I understand that everyone says that, yes, whoever will do this independent assessment will look at all the records and all of that. I get it. But in reality, we've had experts testify before this court. We had a doctor today that wasn't even aware of some of this child's background, but they were affirmatively telling you what you should do today with this kid and where to send her. So, I mean, We had a doctor today that didn't know the child had an ankle injury, didn't know that the child had been seen at Tampa General Hospital for treatment of conversion disorder for 30 days with no results.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the problem. We all hope in good faith that they will not read or that they will read every record, but in reality, that may not happen.
Well, all I'm saying is that before I can make a change in placement, I'm going to have comfort that whatever option we have, the facility that's receiving has the capacity to do the independent investigation that I've suggested and not just accept 166, whatever some other doctor has said about as to the true diagnosis.
I would hope that all treatment facilities would do their best to determine whether a patient is appropriately diagnosed. But I will research that. I will get in touch with Dr. Busing. Busing?
Yeah, whatever. This is a very good point by the chat. I just realized something that's effed up. All this fighting over the right treatment, and all we've heard for 9 weeks from JHACH is that the treatment is the same for both.
Yep.
That's literally what they argued.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing we have today is, did you tell me to write out an order to transport the child here for next Friday? Or did you want everybody to approve it and I can take it back up to my office to type it up?
I want you to sit here and get an agreement. And then once you get the agreement, you can pick a lawyer to do the draft.
Well, I've already hand drafted it and nothing gets agreed to in this case, if you haven't noticed yet. But I'm not willing to sit with them for a few minutes to see if we can agree on this language.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to rush you today on that.
I've got it drafted already.
Mr. Hunter, what I'd like to do in your situation, and I know it's problematic to some degree, but if you could give us an update on any of the issues that I've presented here and tell me where the hospital is in their checklist to get the kid out of there to some out-of-state facility next week, Friday, when we come back, Mr. Shapiro or somebody from your office, it would be very helpful.
Yes, Your Honor. I will interact with, I've interacted with the hospital several times during the hearing, and I'm kind of making a checklist here regarding psychiatric and psychological records, updated records, and I will inquire about that and where we are with this. I would like to consult further with the hospital regarding the details of the discharge or the pass or whatever we're calling it to bring the child here for the evaluation. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page as far as that's concerned. And I can do that this afternoon in email with Miss Salisbury and the entire group, if need be, to get something.
Well,
that's mutually agreed to. Because if I understand, Your Honor, what you're ordering us to do is either temporarily discharge or pass this child to be transported here by
Scott Kowalski.
By the uncle.
Right. Scott Kowalski via vehicle.
As his sole responsibility and under his sole custody, seen here by the court and by Dr. Duncan, taken for a visit with Dr. Hannah, and then returned to the hospital. And all of that takes place with the family's responsibility and not the hospital's. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes. And if you need a reason for her to come here, I'm approving her to attend the status conference on Friday.
Right. Understood.
And then on the trip, when she gets here, if I authorize her to go in the jury room and meet with Dr. Duncan, that's not the hospital's concern. That's my concern. And then if she goes back and wants to stop off at Dr. Hannah's, I can authorize that too. And then directly from there, back to the hospital. So let me give you a chance to hammer that out. And again, if you need some intervention by me, I'll be available. So Ron, do you want to go ahead and let me know when they've come to consensus or not? And I'll make a decision on any conflict.
Judge, I was also handed today in court a note from my client specifically directed to you. It's in a sealed envelope. I don't know what you want me to.
Okay, I don't do sealed envelopes. So you'll have to open it up and show it to counsel, and I'll see it when I come back, all right?
He's worried about the anthrax.
Yeah, anthrax.
Raz, the court is in recess.
Begin transcription of digital recording file.
Okay, let's see. All right, what do we have?
I don't know if you signed this. I sent it to you last week.
Let me see it.
Dr. Duncan, just a plan.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, that's fine. I just needed to make sure.
Check and see if this is in the court file.
And we worked out some language. He wants to type it in, directing the hospital to release the child. We've agreed on some language, and we're just teaching him how to text it to his office so they can start typing it.
How old is this guy? We're teaching him how to text in 2023.
Right? I'm like, wait, is it?
I think it's Hunter. I think it's Mr. Hunter.
We have a. Oh, that's the court. Never mind.
Yeah. We have a computer here.
I've got 1:30 case plan conference.
Judge, I'm going to have my staff do the
order,
type up what she said, and I'm going to make some notes about the court's direction. And then my intention is I'm going straight back to my office. I'll take that, I'll finalize it, and I'll get it to all counsel this afternoon.
Okay. Any concerns about the proposed order that has been drafted?
Judge.
No?
I just had a couple of issues. One, the order indicates the child's going to be brought for the 12:30 hearing next Friday, but we're going to have a hearing also. And what my concern is, I thought there was prior discussion about the child being brought in like 10. So that child wouldn't be here when everyone is here. Are we?
Hold on. We've got a 12:30 hearing.
Right.
I've asked you to look into the issues that I talked about before the break. I'd like to have an update on those.
Uh-huh.
While we're doing that, Maya's going to be in the jury room with Dr. Duncan.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that understood? At 12:30?
Yes, Your Honor.
The 10 o'clock's off the calendar.
Right.
And then as far as Dr. Hana, who's going to be present at Dr. Hana's evaluation?
Dr. Hannah and Maya. The uncle's transporting, right?
Right.
And the case manager wants to be present.
And Dr. Hana is a child?
At what?
At Dr. Hana's evaluation.
And your other previously
said that the parents could be there, but
they don't have to be. And now the case manager wants to be present.
And the case manager does not need to be present, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's just leave it as it is.
Oh, okay.
And this.
Wait a minute. As is that Maya's present? Is that Maya's present with Dr. Hannah?
Yes, and the uncle transports, correct?
She's very familiar with Dr. Hana. In fact, I know that she has told her prior attorneys that she liked Dr. Hana very much and missed him.
Well, of course, he's subscribing to her regimen that she likes. That would be normal that she liked.
Oh my God. Sorry.
I want to kill this guy.
She wouldn't like doctors who were opposing what she thinks she needs. That's perfectly
I now
normal.
know I could never be a lawyer. I could never be a lawyer because I would have already come over the bench and I'd be trying to strangle this judge. I'd be throwing things. I'd be in
contempt of court, spent a lot of time in jail.
Oh yeah, I would have to pack my toothbrush in my briefcase because this is making me. I'm like burning up inside. This is wrong.
They won't let you take those
I'm
things.
I'm burning for you, Mr. Silverstein. All right.
Well, it's also because that treatment is the one that she.
Sure. I'm just saying that you would expect you go to a doctor that you like who sustains the diagnosis that you also concur with.
Well, but some children don't.
It makes her feel better.
Particularly like their pediatric physicians or whoever is treating them.
Oh, well, I think he's got a good bedside manner. That's good.
Judge, I have a request, and I'm sorry. The mother is asking me if it's possible to change the FaceTime from 5 to 7:30 because she works. She's the only one that works in the home right now, and it's become difficult either where she's traveling or with a patient. Can we move it to 7:30?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I thought we agreed on the...
Counsel just asked me about that. I told her I would check with the hospital and get back with her, and I'll do that this afternoon.
If the hospital approves it, I'm okay with it.
Okay, thank you.
But if they don't, it stays 5 p.m. Judge,
I showed the child's letter to Mr. Silverstein. He doesn't have an objection to it being presented. I haven't spoken to Mr. Monahan. I'm sure he's not going to have an objection.
All right, I'll take a look at this.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, good likeness. Give me too much hair, but
She's just got a so cute. So we need to be here on Friday.
Are we done?
Yep.
All of us. We need to be here on Friday.
All right.
We're all set then?
Yep, y'all can leave.
All right. I've got to go down and collect my second ticket on this case off my car.
Go, 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 go! All right, see you back Friday, 12:30.
No!
The proceedings were concluded.
This is bullshit. Just saying.
It's awful. Well, we made it.
Go,
we did
go,
it.
go, go!
We did it. We did it.
Go, go! Yeah, we did. We survived.
That was brutal.
We survived.
That was
If
probably
I was
half
the
an hour.
mother of this child, I would have been in my mother's position.
Oh, I'd have been jail. I'd have been in jail because I'd
Sorry.
already drugged my child out of the hospital.
There's a super
Correct,
chat
or I would have been my
for
mom.
MG Law. Could you say the following in the? You read it, MG Law.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups. These are their stories.
Dun dun.
Yeah. You need the law
Dun,
and
dun.
crime bell.
You guys
All
know
right,
how
I
there's
only have
that.
one thing to say
I don't
after
like-
all of this. I have one thing to say after everything we've just heard, and this is it.
Shame. Shame.
Shame. Shame.
Shame on all of these.
I gotta say,
I
after
don't
playing
like
Dr.
the
Major,
idea of a judge determining which diagnosis
Yeah,
is
and I don't
best
think the
for
judge
me.
has that really
It's
has
not
that
their
authority.
place.
But
It's not
It's,
their.
it's not. That was wholly unacceptable. What the fuck?
I felt like I was.
Absolutely insane.
I felt like I was at work because they spent over half an hour probably talking in circles, going from, well, what about this? Nope, let's go back to this one. Nope, 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 let's go back again and talk about this again. But we already discussed this. No, but we need to go down this road again.
Mm.
That was.
It's
That was
hard
brilliant.
I've just got to say,
I'm just gonna finish.
I'm just gonna
I
say,
think it's hard.
pours whiskey down his throat.
I just think it's hard because as a mother, like I think it takes like fathers are different, and I'm not saying your role's not important, but you feel life grow inside of you. You feel them like your first flutters, your first kicks. You birth these kids, and if you're a good mom and you love your kids, you will do everything to make their life easy, to make sure they don't have pain, and to watch these people try to take this kid away from a mom who obviously loves her is just so heartbreaking.
Socially
it makes me
awkward,
cry.
by the way. Everybody in the chat is like, aren't you going on Ricada? Why are you still here? Yes, I'm going on Ricada. You know he streams till like 5 in the morning, right? Everybody calm
It takes
down.
him an hour to get started.
I am going to go over there. Right now he's talking to Rob, but I told him I was going to be late. And, he made me wait to get on his show for like, I don't know, a year now.
7 weeks?
At least it's been a long time. So I'm going to say he can wait. It's fine. We're wrapping it up. We're done, but it's fine. Everybody calm down. I'll get over there at some point. But yeah, I think Rob's over at the moment. Yeah, quit nagging me about Ricada. My God. Do you just want me to quit? Do you just want me to quit?
constant in chat.
No, they just love your story. They just love your story, and they're excited.
Oh,
to have you
Megan,
on.
your channel's not important. It's all about.
I know.
Nick's
It's all about
right?
Nick now. It's like,
Yeah, your channel doesn't matter. Your
they
stream
want to
just
see the
doesn't- it's not
showdown
significant.
with Rob.
Yeah,
We
no.
need
It's
the
not
Rob
about that.
showdown.
Is they want to hear you because they're torn, and you have something really big right now going on. That's all.
Torn between two lovers.
Speaking
feeling
of
like a
something I
fool.
have going on right now, I did manage to write an article before I started streaming tonight.
Oh, she wrote
So
an article about
clickety
this.
click,
Oh.
clickety click. I need you to click on it and increase my paycheck over there.
When you said that,
because-
your skin took on a very red hue when you
It's
said
because
it.
my dark screen went light. So, all right, hold on. Where am I at here? I need you to go click on this article. Do I look super red? Wait.
No,
Not
you're
right
good.
now.
You're beautiful.
Oh,
I love doing the
shit.
accents. That was a lot of fun.
Nobody edited it yet? Oh, I'm going to
Well, of
have
course.
words with my editor. It's not up yet.
#1 on trending.
No, that's the old one. Okay, well, old as in yesterday. I wrote one about the judgment, but that one I already published. All right, I'll just put it in the chat again. But I have a new one about the sexual assault allegation.
Yeah.
So that one should
That's
be
heavy.
out, and I don't know where my editor is. I guess they went to sleep on me before they did it, which sucks because I could have beat a lot of people to that story.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Send it out on Twitter.
I can't.
It hasn't been edited.
It hasn't been
Yeah.
edited. It's not
I'll edit it
published.
for you. Just kidding.
I don't have the capability to edit my own stuff.
Damn it.
I guess ASMR Shapiro is
I
going to
love
be
It's
making a
not good
comeback.
enough to
Shapiro-
read your own
I love
stuff.
ASMR Shapiro so
Oh my
much.
God.
Just read it.
Good.
Just read your ASMR on Twitter.
Just
Make
read
it
your
easy.
own.
Doing the voices is the most fun thing ever. I got to be Southern and I got to be Polish. I had a
You
great
did
time.
great
Australian.
on Piana. You did
Thanks.
fantastic on
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
And then
that
you
was
got to
great.
be Aussie as somebody else, which was
That was my
hilarious.
worst accent. I'm a bad Australian. Like I
No,
was
you were
not
a
good.
Yeah, you did.
accent.
Wrong.
pretty good.
I love you, but wrong. It was terrible. But the
You do,
Irish
I'm
Polish one,
jealous of how well you can do accents. Like
I
you
think
picked
it's
it up
Megan.
real well.
it's got to be the
Megan.
What,
pear
Jeff?
vodka.
It's the vodka.
Made
The
me
vodka
Polish.
makes me
What,
very-
Jeff?
Yes,
it
Jeff.
makes
But,
me
Ma-
speak my
but
mind.
Megan,
Yes,
I think
Jeff.
you need to get over to Nick's because
Yeah.
they're talking
Yeah.
about all the stuff that you would get mad and yell about.
Yes, and that's
Chat's
where
all
it's
about
fun.
chat's all about
Jeff
you know,
has to go to
the
bed.
suicide's
Jeff
on
is like,
her.
sleep.
Oh,
Let me go to
seriously?
sleep.
What are you
The
talking about? It's like
suicide?
2:00 in the
No,
afternoon.
that's me.
The
It's
chat
like
is
almost
not
1
on their
a.m. for
side.
me.
The chat's
The
not on
chat's
my
like the
side.
suicide's all about the hospital. It's all on her. You
Oh,
know,
fuck
it's
this
all about
shit, I'm
freedom
out.
and
Wow.
person.
I
Fuck this,
Yeah.
love
fuck
you.
this shit, I'm out.